Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
$222 222 hours, 9 days away from the big game in Arizona. Happy Friday, everybody. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis hanging out with you. Thrilled to be with you. See everybody in the chat section. What's up, Jeremy, Mbaye, A-Dog, James, Eagles 0536, Eric, Television Man, Sean Clark, Daz, Darris, Sweens, our girl Chris. What's up, everybody? Bah! How we all doing? How you guys doing?
Hey, good, man. Before we get things rolling,
Yes.
because we're going to have to deal with this all next week. Look at Barrett. He already smiling. Now, once he gets out there, he's going to be rubbing it in the sun and the fun. He's working on his tan.
He should. To the victors go the spoils. Man.
You're right, because I would do the same thing. I ain't going to lie.
Yes.
But I just want to get my shot in as well. Now, Zach McGurkin, who's an advertising specialist for Ocean Casino, takes care of us every week. Hotel suites, the food. So this morning before our show meeting, he sends me a text. He goes, "Hey, D-Gun, this is what I'm recommending for food for game day because you guys need to be well fed." So I said, okay. So he sends me the official request he puts in. He says it's from Zach. Somebody sends it to Zach. Hi, Zach. Here's the suggested menu for Super Bowl Sunday. Please let us know if this is something you would like. Feel free to make changes. So the menu stands as follows. Kansas City pulled pork barbecue with cheese sauce and mini rolls, or preset as sliders, KC spicy French fries, Philly mini cheesesteaks or rolls with SHB dipping sauce. I don't know what that is. South Philly Eagles wings with BC dipping sauce. So then I shot back and said, Zach, man, that's awesome. I said, you know what would really top it off? If you had some smoked baby back ribs. So Zach, who always takes care of us, and I know Xander's back there salivating right now because Xander will be there also running the show from the green room, him and Tone. So I said, it would be a topper if you could also add some baby back smoked ribs, but it can't just be any kind of ribs. You got to find somebody that can smoke the ribs. And then he said, he goes, that might be hard, but I'll request it. He said, unless you work in the grill, D-Gun, that wouldn't be a bad idea, except I can't have my clothes smelling like apple wood or mesquite wood that's permeating throughout that entire new gallery they have put up, having people have the munchies. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so two observations. This poor guy's doing everything he can to give you like an incredible menu, and it's still not enough. You have to get baby back ribs, number one, okay?
Yes.
Number two, it only took you like 13 seconds to swing into food. That was, even by your standards, that was impressive, guys.
Yes.
Right off the top of the show.
If I have to listen to you give a countdown of hours every day, I can talk food, doggone it. Now, you know what the Bible tells you? Ask and ye shall receive. Seek and ye shall find. Man. If you don't ask, you ain't trying. Barrett, am I telling the truth? You muted.
I'm a little pissed off that
what?
I can't partake in it.
Yeah, me too. And he knows that. He knows
he'll
that.
be in Arizona, man. Seriously, he'll be in Arizona, man. Come on.
Wait, what they got in Arizona? They got what?
What?
In and out. That's all they got is In and Out.
No, they don't.
They do it.
No. Be
good barbecue, Barrett.
In Arizona?
Yes. They have good barbecue. My brother and my sister-in-law go to this barbecue joint, Barrett. If people start lining up at like 6 and 7 in the morning, and I'll get the names for you. The line is around the block, dude. And if you don't get there by a certain time, by like 2 o'clock, they're out of stuff by 2 o'clock.
What?
Yes.
I think I went to the same place, Derek, and I'm blanking on the name of it. And
I'll get the name and let you know.
I'll see if I can get to it too as well.
But Mexican food, barbecue. I already told you about the steakhouse, dude. They got great breakfast spots. My brother took me up to a breakfast spot in Scottsdale. Oh my goodness, one of the best breakfasts I ever had, man. Yeah, food. Arizona's got some food, but so you know what? I ain't feeling bad for you one bit. You got sun, you get free hotel, you get free food, free lodging, rental cars. You out there hobnobbing with Jaws at a cigar bar party. You got all these former athletes. You can be. You think I feel bad for you one bit because I know what that's like. I've been there many times.
Yes. Well, you should, man. You should. I haven't partaken in this stuff before.
You know what? I will say this, Rob. Minneapolis was kind of limited because we didn't want to be outside any longer.
I don't blame you.
But I will say, being in the Mall of America, dude, you had everything you needed right in that Mall of America. Every gift shop you could think of. We never had to go outside except to get in the car to go back to the hotel. Or didn't we walk across the parkway? The hotel was right across the parkway.
Yep.
Parking lot from the mall.
Yep.
Well, once or twice we walked from the hotel to the actual
hotel
America.
Yep.
Rob, let me tell you something. I can't emphasize enough. I'm from the Midwest.
Yeah.
I have lived in 25, 30 degree below zero weather. Had to go to school, had to go outside, shovel snow. But when you move on the East Coast, when it gets cold here, but this ain't nothing. I walked across that parking lot. I mean, I was like, it took me 10 minutes to thaw when I got the building.
I know. Like, I don't blame you. I like that to me. I'm sorry, man. Like unless I have to be in a city like that in the wintertime or whatever. No, thank you. Even Chicago, which is the greatest.
Yes.
I don't need to be where I'm in pain when I walk outside. No, thanks.
I hit a nice little jog every time I went across that damn parking lot.
It's the fastest you've moved since your playing days,
bro. It was a nice little jog. I didn't care what I had. I don't care what kind of boxes or bags or whatever, dog. I hit a nice little jog running across. Remember how cold it was?
Yeah.
Like we would literally wait for a shuttle. There'll be a shuttle that came like every half an hour.
Yeah.
It was in I can remember us sitting there every half an hour, and the shuttle passed by twice.
Right. Oh.
And we still weren't trying to go across that street.
Hey, Sills has your hook up there, Barrett. Hooters.
Man, you don't want to go to Hooters, man.
North 75th Avenue in Phoenix. You're all set.
He knows I'm a simple man. That's all.
He knows get some wings. You'll be all right. That's all you need.
I'm a simple man.
Barrett, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you underdress for that Super Bowl? You didn't have proper winter attire, did you?
On the last day, I didn't. On the last day, I didn't bring a big coat or anything because I'm thinking, all right, we're going to be inside. Yeah. They fooled me.
Yeah.
So walking from where the car was to and going through security and everything else to get to the stadium.
Yeah.
And then walking up a big hill that's across. I mean, that's like the length of the stadium.
Yes.
To get to where we were. It was so cold, man, that I couldn't believe how cold it was, bro, because you had to go through all the security, and even though it was indoors, it was actually cold. It was like even colder inside than it was outside. It was ridiculous, man. Never again will I ever be hoodwinked or bamboozled into being that cold.
Rob, he had on dress shoes, and it was like 8 inches of snow on the ground. He had on dress shoes, thin socks. Ooh. The rest of us wearing like Timberlands and all these. We got hiking boots on and stuff.
Right,
no, not Pretty Boy Floyd.
I didn't know any better. Pretty Boy Floyd wearing, you had didn't you have a leather coat on? Something like a waisted leather coat, no hat, no earmuffs, no nothing.
Oh, God.
And dress shoes. And I'm thinking, you grew up in Missouri. You ain't no real Midwesterner, man. You know better. We're taught from the time we come out of the womb. We're
a little warmer in St. Louis in his defense.
No, it's not.
A little.
It's not.
That was absolutely the worst I felt in my life, bro. The worst. It was so cold that I'm going to tell you the truth. It was so cold that even Ray Diddy he was so cold he wouldn't go outside. Like he didn't eat. He was like, you know what? I'll pass on eating this time. That's how cold it was.
That's right. Yeah. We had to walk from the setup, Rob, to this big tent for food, right?
Right.
It is huge tent set up. Now think about how many media is there. So you got the national media, local media out of town. We're all eating in this tent. It was buffet style, and the food was pretty good.
Yeah.
The problem was not only was it cold and snow on the ground, it was raining. The tent was leaking. So you had to dodge the because it felt like icicles hitting you in your neck, your exposed part. So you had to walk from there to get the food and then turn around and walk back. And I'm wearing thermal gear, and I'm still like, man, I can't wait to get the heck out of there. We were there, 9 days? I couldn't wait to get my butt up out of there, man.
Can't say I blame you. That's for sure. I can't blame you one bit with that cold, man. No, thank you. And we're experiencing finally a little bit of it today and tomorrow. It is cold, man. It's legit, like painful cold out in our area here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, couple things to hit here, guys. Nick Sirianni wins the Fox Sports Coach of the Year, so it was nice. Get a little love for Sirianni. For sure, even though he's not going to win the NFL Coach of the Year, it looks like. But that was good. I enjoyed Sal Pal sat down with him. And I know, Gunner, you have your gun-on-one is with Sal Palantonio this week. When's that drop?
Yeah, it's dropping at a little after 6 p.m. tonight. Sal and I, we chatted for about a half hour this morning. Great insight as always. So latest gun-on-one coming out shortly after 6 p.m. tonight with Sal Pal. Dude, his producer sent me a schedule of what he was doing today. His day starts at like 6:45 and ends later tonight. He's got like 20 hits on different Sports Center shows formats and all. It's ridiculous what he has to go through today. But that's Sal Pal, man.
Good. And we had him on last week. He's phenomenal. All right, so look for that at 6 o'clock. But it was a good sit down. And Sirianni, I thought, was really let his guard. Not that he's ever buttoned up, but he was really kind of, opened up and that kind of thing. And one of the things he said was when he was driving to the game on Sunday against the 49ers, the NFC Championship game, he was listening to the music of Rocky IV. He used to do that when he was a player, and it's all come full circle for him. So
that's something.
Cool. Yeah.
It was meant to be. His arrival in Philadelphia was meant to be.
That's it. It was destined back in the day.
Destined.
All right. I thought you guys would enjoy this. So there's this. Barry, maybe this is a station you've heard of from your St. Louis days. I don't know how far out this place is, but I would assume it's the other end of the state, I would guess. But there's a Missouri radio station called KJMK. It's 93.9. All right. I guess it's a classic rock station. I don't know. But they've banned any music from the group The Eagles. So no Hotel California or anything else is allowed to be played. I think that's genius, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. That's
Very
pretty
smart.
cool, man.
I love that.
Yeah. And they're like, they said, we're trying to show support for our Mahomies. That's what they call themselves, the Mahomies in any kind of Chiefs fan. So that was pretty good. And the fact that we're sitting here talking about them, brilliant marketing, good work out of them. But that was pretty funny. This kind of stuff you get. I like this stuff. This is also interesting. According to TickPick, which is a secondary ticketing agency, 24% of the Super Bowl tickets purchased thus far are from Pennsylvania. Only 7% from Missouri and Kansas. So it looks like this could be another Eagle takeover here. And you guys can speak to what it looked like in Minnesota, but kind of where it's at.
Let me tell you something. Arizona's about to be taken over by Philadelphia Mania, dude. I'm telling you, they don't know what's coming. They don't know and it'll start this weekend. A lot of people will get there this weekend and make it a week-long trip.
Why not, right? Get out of the cold.
That's an expensive trip. Woo!
Yeah.
That's expensive, dude. When you talk about, again, jacked up hotel prices, jacked up rental cars, food prices, Uber prices, the game tickets, man, that's like a small fortune for a week. Now, a lot of people won't arrive until Thursday or Friday and make it like a 3-day weekend, But some people, man, you're right, get out of the cold. It's already over 80 degrees. I got to hear this from my brother every week. It's over 80 degrees already in Phoenix, man. I mean, seriously.
It's over 80. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By March, I tell you, by March, you'll start seeing temperatures 90, close to 100, just like where my wife is from, 90, close to 100. And I'm sitting there going, why not me? Why can't I have this?
Well, like my thing is, if you have the bread to be able to do it, like if you can afford Super Bowl tickets and hotel, all that stuff, man, go for it. I'd get out there, man. I do a week. I would. I do like a Monday to Monday.
Exactly. But see, I would like to go out there and enjoy the festivities. Like there's oh my goodness, I forgot what town, because when we went out there for a playoff game, there's an actual sports bar in the Phoenix area that's diehard Eagles. And when they were out there to play Arizona, the game they lost to the Cardinals, we did live shots from outside this sports bar. Nice area, nice open area, but it was swamped with Eagles fans. I can't even begin to imagine what it's going to be like with Super Bowl Eagle fans hanging out at these places. But, dude, it's going to be a sea of green in Arizona, especially starting in the middle part to the latter part of next week.
Yeah. It's
You
going to
gotta
be
love
wild.
that, man. You gotta love it, bro. You gotta love it. Come on, man. This is what it's all about.
Yeah. But see, you know what I would do? You know what I would do? I would go out there and enjoy the festivities of the week. I would not go to the game, though.
Why not?
I ain't going to the game. I mean, Barrett, I already told you. I'm not going 3 hours early to get a parking spot. I'm not leaving before the final horn is sound just to beat the traffic. To me, it defeats the purpose of enjoying the ambience of being there live.
Right.
Now, I'm saying if I was a fan. Now, from a media perspective, it's different because we get in before it's jammed. We have designated places we park. We go in through the tunnel, walk in where the players are, hang out there, do pregame hits either in the tunnel or on the field. By the time you're done with your postgame commitments, 2 or 3 hours later, everybody's gone. That's different. But as a fan, I would love to go out there for the warm weather, the fun, festivities, go where all the Eagles fans are hanging out, at the different parties and the sports bars and the restaurants. You won't see me at the game. I ain't going to the game.
Brian is heading out Saturday morning. He's going all in, man. He's leaning into the experience. I like that.
Well, man, I'm kind of pissed off that I'm not leaving until Wednesday, man, because I'm getting all these
that's
texts,
bogus,
man.
That's bogus.
I'm getting these texts like I'm getting event credential help from the Super Bowl. Tuesday, February 7th is the media party. They got a media party. I didn't know.
I told you this.
Yeah, you're missing all that stuff.
That's why when you told me, I'm like, why are you going? Because you're going to lose Wednesday. You're flying. That's your travel day. You lose a Wednesday. So technically, you're going to have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you got to hit the ground running with all the commitments Sunday. So by the time you adjust to the time zones, it's game day, and you're gonna be doing this. Hey, we need you to do a hit here. Can you go and do a hit there,
bro? So, I got 1,000 hits I got to do.
There you go.
Every single day I got 1,000 hits. It actually started on Wednesday, man. I've been doing hits all day since Wednesday. With so many different entities, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
I can't believe they're sending you on a Wednesday, dude.
All right, so I'll tell you what else is. We're gonna get Barrett fired from one of his other gigs.
Right.
This is a historical matchup, guys, and it's a big deal. You got Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, two African American quarterbacks facing each other. First time in Super Bowl history. There have been 6 black quarterbacks to start a Super Bowl since Doug Williams did it 35 years ago when he won it with the Redskins. What an unbelievable run those Redskins. They had 3 different quarterbacks win Super Bowls for them during that time period. But nonetheless, it's a big deal, man. And I know we'll get to a point at some point where we don't even notice it and all that, and that's great. But for right now, it still needs to be recognized, acknowledged, celebrated, whatever at this point.
Absolutely. This is and just going through what we've gone through, even the past couple of years, it's good to see, the advancement, of people of color, man. It's cool. And I mean, and also the evolution of having dual threat quarterbacks, not just, black quarterbacks, but dual threat quarterbacks themselves being able to do it. Not just Hurts, but I mean, look at Allen. Allen wouldn't necessarily been a quarterback that would have liked. I mean, it took so long for Steve, what's his name? Steve from 49ers. Steve Young.
Yeah.
To make his mark. You know what I'm saying? Because it took him a while to, he was in Tampa Bay before they really acknowledged that God is that's a dual threat that can go out and run, get outside the pocket and throw. I mean, it took him a long time to even work himself into being a starting quarterback in the league. So, I mean, just going out there and being more athletic. It used to just be a guy sitting back there in the pocket and throwing it down the field. Now people that can run are able to do it, man. So, I mean, I love that aspect of it.
Well, if you really want to tell it like it is, Fran Tarkenton was the first true scrambling quarterback in the National Football League. When you really think about it, he would do stuff the way he would pirouette one way, then the other. He was the first real scrambler. Way before his time. He was way ahead of his time. And then you said
he's 83 today, Derek, by the way.
Yeah. Yep. And think about it. Steve Young came along. You're right. And people had to warm up to Steve Young before he finally, I'll never forget when he finally won that Super Bowl and he pointed to his back. He said, like, the monkey's finally off my back, that he couldn't win the big game with his style of quarterbacking. And now it's common. It's like, if you don't have a dual threat quarterback, you're behind the times now,
Yep.
Isn't that something?
Well, it used to be, you guys know, it used to be if you were a black quarterback, they were going to try and convert you to receiver, or defensive back, or whatever.
Absolutely.
And there were a lot of Warren Moon had to go to the Canadian football. Even though Warren Moon wasn't what you would call a scrambler. Warren Moon was much more of a just pure thrower. That's just the way it used to be, period. And then it took a long time. You're right. For any kind of quarterback who was considered a running quarterback, they didn't want them. They didn't think they could succeed. And I think coaches finally got smart enough. We lost the stigma, but I think people got smart enough to realize we can incorporate this and make this work for us. And we'll use a little bit of what the colleges use. And this is where the position's evolving to, for sure.
Well, go back to the early 70s, Steelers, Jefferson Street, Joe Gillen, they tried to convert him for a while, Now, unfortunately, his career, he had sporadic success, but because of other troubles that he had in his life, it really didn't take off and hold. But the fact that the Steelers of all teams, really gave him an opportunity to open that door in a lot of ways for African-American quarterback. And then you look at the distance between him and the next wave of African-American quarterbacks to come, it was a long, long time before you really saw another prominent African-American. I mean, think about this. As we sit here today, it's been 35 years since Doug Williams became the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
35 years have come and gone. And we talk about all the changes and improvements that we've made in this country, and just think about that gap, more than 3 decades since an African-American quarterback actually won a Super Bowl.
That's crazy, bro.
It is.
Or should not one, but won the first. Because Russell Wilson has won.
Yeah, people have won it. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. But no, look, it's been right. It just tells you how, it's a long time coming and way too long. There's no question. But I would assume guys who really like the John Waltons, I'm going back a long way, like those guys, James Harris, who were sort of like able to bust the mold, but maybe didn't get their due. They got to be sitting back enjoying this, and
absolutely.
saying,
my goodness,
yeah. Guys like Randall, who weren't quite as far back as those guys, but still Randall Cunningham, who we watched here forever. Barry, you played with, all of those guys, man. So I'm happy that we're getting there, but we're not there yet. That's for sure.
For the people who say, well, it should not be about color. Okay. But it's a significant moment in sports history, in NFL history, because this has never happened before. That's why it's brought up. If this was an every year occurrence, we wouldn't even be talking about it. So for those who don't understand why color is even mentioned, it's because it has never happened before, where you've had 2 starting quarterbacks of African-American descent lining up across from each other in a Super Bowl. That's why. So understand the significance of the historical value of this, not just that it's 2 black quarterbacks taking the field.
Yeah, and we actually in Philadelphia have a decent history of at least, whether it was, I mentioned a guy like John Walton back in the day, but you had Randall, you've had Donovan, you've had Michael Vick, you've had Jalen Hurts. We've had our certain.
How dare you not put Young in there, man? I mean,
Vince Young.
Yeah, Vince Young. Come on, Rob.
Green Team Vinny. Oh.
Barry pulled that one out of the coffin.
Yeah, because we were all trying to forget that time.
Right. Dream team, baby. Dream team.
But for real though, I mean, I think that this city, at least from that perspective, has had a little bit more representation maybe than some others. That's for sure. But not where it needs to be, but getting there. That's for sure. And it's significant. There is cultural significance to the Super Bowl. Not only that, how young Jalen Hurts is. What is he, the 7th player under 25 to start a Super Bowl, which is crazy in and of itself. Dan Marino, Bledsoe, among others. So yeah, there's a lot going on here, man. In addition to the fact that you have the Eagles taking on their old coach and Andy Reid. And by the way, we have Sheil Kapadia coming up at 1:00 from the Ringer. Looking forward to hanging out and talking to Sheil, diving into it. But Speaking of Andy and more to Jeffrey Lurie and sort of just where this organization is. We come back, we'll do a little appreciation segment of smelling the roses a little bit with the Eagles about where things are right now and just how good they are and the fact that they're in a Super Bowl for the second time in 5 years, which has never happened in franchise history. So we'll dig into all of those kind of things when we come back. That's Derek. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group because knowing who to trust with your finances can be challenging. That's for sure. And I know I went through it for a long time, but I can tell you from personal experience that I found someone that I can trust with my finances, and that's Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Now, for you, it could be retirement planning, could be 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business. You're trying to start up your employee benefits. You're not really sure how to go about it. That's another resource that Jim can help you with. I know personally, I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. And look, if you're not really sure, if you just need a consultation, just give him a call, 610-996-4751. That's 610-996-4751. You can email him as well, Murray, MURRAY, .jim@principal.com. That's murray.jim@principal.com.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Jeff D'Ambrosio doesn't need a special event to appreciate his customers. Jeff shows his appreciation to them every day of the year. Jeff makes sure to stock more new inventory than anyone and guarantees prices and payments that nobody can beat. There are so many reasons that thousands of customers know Jeff is the easy, friendly place to do business. More for their trades. No judgment zone for credit issues. The best, most reliable service department in the country. That's why I like Jeff, and I know you will too. Jeff will satisfy you every day. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Owner Appreciation Event.
Weather forecasting is a team game.
We rely on each other every day, updating the models and passing along new critical information.
We have a team of 5 experienced meteorologists and a specialized weather producer, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Sometimes what I see in the model, Cecily could see something different.
That's when we come together as a team to make our most accurate prediction.
And all of this backed by more than 100 AccuWeather scientists. It's a team game.
And we have the best team in town.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Back. Yes, we are. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network on a Friday, 9 days away from the Eagles Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Show Kapadia coming up top of the hour. All right. So a couple things, guys. The Eagles have been in existence since 1933. Now, there was a little stretch where they were the Steagles during World War II, where they had to combine with the Steelers, which was an interesting little stretch there. But nonetheless, they've been around as an organization since 1933. During those 90 seasons, they only had 4 championships, 48, 49, 60, and 2017. So when you go essentially 15 seasons from, your existence, your founding, before you win one, then you go from 49 to 60, which is 11 seasons. You thought that was bad. That wasn't anything. They went from 60 to 17, 57 seasons without winning it. To be sitting here, guys, with a chance to win their second Super Bowl in 5 years, when you consider the history, it's pretty darn impressive. And I think it's very much a smell the roses kind of week. As much as we're all anticipating and trying to fast forward this thing, I think you also need to enjoy this a little bit because it doesn't happen very often.
I love it. It's a feeling of all right, we belong here too, though. It's not like we're sneaking in.
Yeah.
Not we're backdooring it. We belong here. Mm-hmm. We belong. We are the best team in the NFL. I love that I could say that we are the best team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it's going to unfold on not this Sunday, but next Sunday. I'm feeling real confident it's going to unfold in our favor. We are the best roster in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, you sit here right now and you look at what they've been able to do. And hi, Mama Brooks, by the way.
Morning, Mom.
So as we sit here, and you look at what they did numerically in terms of wins, what they did numerically in terms of, both sides of the football, the way that they've just shredded everybody in their wake in the playoffs. And you consider only two of the 3 losses came without the starting quarterback. I mean, there's a case to be made that this team, it's not even really close to the way that they've dominated this season. I mean, they're going against a team that was the best in football offensively in Kansas City, but they didn't put up the same kind of defensive numbers that the Eagles put up. Not to mention 70 sacks during the regular season, what was the third most in the history of the NFL. I mean, there's a lot of reason to feel good about this team going in to this game for sure. They have dominated, and we're in rarefied air, Derek.
That is a testament to the commitment of Jeffrey Lurie. And I mentioned this statistic a few days ago. Since he bought this team in '94, they have been to the playoffs now 17 times. It took them a lot longer than I'm sure he anticipated in terms of hoisting that Lombardi trophy. A lot of trial and error along the way, and a lot of it didn't work. And they finally got it right in 17, and we just assumed that they were going to consistently be back after that because finally that monkey had been off their back. But we know how difficult it is. We will never see, I don't think, in the history of pro football, the run that the team like New England Patriots had. They had a blueprint that nobody else was able to emulate, which was shocking because it's such a copycat league. I can't believe more front offices didn't study what New England was doing to maintain it. I mean, like 15 years?
Yeah.
We still don't know what they were doing, though.
To win 15 consecutive division titles, 10 Super Bowl appearances, 7 Super Bowl trophies. And the biggest obvious part was they very seldom cared about draft picks. If they felt they were going to keep a high draft pick, it was because they felt they wanted to get younger at a certain spot, and they had already identified that one player. He didn't have to be the top 15 players because, let's face it, during that run, very seldom did they draft above 23, 25, 26 because of the records. But they would identify that one player. If that one player was not there, they trade those picks and go out and get themselves a proven player already. That was the one biggest criteria that most other teams never tried to emulate. So it was a lot of trial and error with this team. And you look at what they put together over the last 2 years. This wasn't just a one-year wonder for Howie Roseman. This started in the 2021 draft.
Mm-hmm.
The way he changed his mindset of drafting and the way they strategically went about their business of bringing in the right free agents to complement the draft picks. And most importantly, the GM openly admitting he needed to do a better job of listening to people on the outside and not thinking he was the smartest man in the room. That's huge when you make that kind of concession.
You can't emulate, like they said on the stream, what the Patriots did, because you can't get away with that now. You can't cheat the way they cheated. I mean, I'll say that because I know we lost the Super Bowl. We weren't in the Super Bowl because they did the same thing against us. That's when that Spygate stuff really started going out, when they played us in a championship game. But long story long, the Eagles are becoming that gold standard. Mr. Lurie has changed the page on basically, what he saw with the old management, the old coaching, the old coaches, the old ownership that they had. I mean, I heard that, the owner before him didn't even care to be up here. Like, he lived in Florida and would just fly up on game day and fly right back out that night.
Yep.
He wasn't even involved with the front office. He wasn't even involved in any football operations.
Yeah, Brayman was the worst.
Brayman, oh yeah, but that's his name, Brayman. Yeah,
he was the worst.
It was car dealerships, right?
Yeah, and he had
about that.
He had a place in Florida, a place in France. It was strictly a business investment. There was no heart involved. The measures he went to cut corners, pennies. You guys had to buy your own socks. He wouldn't do anything to upgrade the facilities. He was
my first year too.
He was a carpetbagger of epic proportion, is what he was.
We when I first got to Philly, my first year there, we used to have to give him a check, $100 check for socks and jocks.
What?
And I think after my second year it stopped, but it stopped because the guy that was the equipment manager was gone. They fired him. Somebody else came in. But yeah, everybody on the team had to give him $100 for socks and jocks.
Makes you wonder where that money was going to.
No, he was keeping it. He was keeping it.
That's unbelievable.
And then he'd do stuff like he would order stuff on our Nike deals.
What?
Yeah, order stuff on our Nike deals and give it to other players.
Yeah.
Like if another player, instead of giving him a stock out of the back, he would order some shoes off my deal, my Nike deal, and he might give it to someone like Freddie Solomon. I'm like, whoa. What gave you the right to do that?
Yeah. Yep. I'm not surprised. Everything from Brayman was a horror story that you heard from people.
Yeah.
And then Jeffrey Lurie comes in. And look at what he's done. He took over in 94. Now, to his credit, buys the team for $195 million. They're worth over $1 billion now, well over $1 billion.
That's crazy.
That's a nice return on your investment, for sure.
He borrowed the money from his aunt.
Yeah. He did. My aunt used to give me $1 for my birthday. I'm not kidding you. I get my card and I'd be excited, man. That $1, man, I could go get some candy or something.
That's right.
Auntie,
my one aunt used to tape a quarter into cards, like Scotch tape. A little different, but anyway. So under Jeffrey Lurie, 17 playoff appearances, Super Bowl championship, 2 Super Bowls, at least, non-championship in 2004 and this year. This year could make it 2 championships as well. 10 NFC East titles, 3 NFC championships, build a new stadium, build a practice facility, has killed it with philanthropic efforts, including the Eagles' autism, research that they've done. He's hired Ray Rhodes, Andy Reid, Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson, and Nick Sirianni. Each of those guys has brought the team to the playoffs. Andy and Doug and Sirianni at least to a Super Bowl. Doug and maybe Sirianni now potentially winning a Super Bowl. Almost everything that he's done, man. And it's not all going to be perfect. There's been mistakes along the way. He turned power over to Chip Kelly and all that. We get it. But for the most part, this guy's been an unbelievable owner.
How many owners can say in their entire tenure of ownership that they've had coaches, every coach they've hired has taken them to a playoff? And how many times, since I've been here, did we look side-eyed at, why are you hiring this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you go with some unknown commodity? Why did you go with this college boy wonder? But yet every time he's made the right decision in terms of a coach for that specific time and era. You know, it's amazing. Now, obviously, you would hope the championships would have come with more frequency, championship appearances. They didn't, and fans, you know, didn't like Lurie, didn't like Howie, many didn't like Joe Banner. You know, but Jeffrey Lurie has stayed to the course in terms of his model for what kind of coach he wants to hire. He hasn't buckled to outside pressure, you know, because in the time I've been here, from Andy to Chip to Doug to Sirianni, it was always, why didn't they hire this more proven commodity? Because they were always up against names who were already established coaches in the National Football League. He stayed the course. He didn't buckle under that media/fan pressure. And now, as we look at it right now, you have to sit back and applaud him for what he's done. In terms, I mean, you could tell he may not be from here, but his heart is in Philadelphia. He wants the best for these fans. He wants that consistent pride that this city lives off of, implemented each and every time he puts a football team on the field. Sometimes it's had to take 2 steps back to get 2 steps ahead. But the bottom line is, look at where it is today.
Mm-hmm. Bro, I can literally go to him right now, and I have no doubt in my mind, if I needed it, he would give it to me. I was his first draft class. I was his first offensive lineman he ever drafted, and I can almost guarantee it. If I go to say, Mr. Lurie, hey man, I need this, please, I need this, he wouldn't even blink an eye. It'd be done. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of guy he is. Every time I see him, you know what I'm saying, he's always been up front with me. Me and Mr. Lurie, I believe we have a great relationship. You know, and I don't have to go to him, but I'm just saying, if I needed to, I definitely think I could.
Yeah. I mean, when we had Ray Didinger on earlier this week, and the good news is he's going to continue to do his Tommy and Me play, which is awesome. But he has a host of that play who ends up taking questions from the audience and asking the cast questions and all that he does, or at least he was doing up until pre-pandemic. So, and I happened to be one of the hosts one night, and Jeffrey Lurie was in the audience, and it was the first time he had seen the play, and he didn't have to do this. He could have rolled right after the play. He sat up in front with us, with me. He sat next to me, and then there was the cast. And he took questions from the audience. I asked him questions. The cast asked him questions. It was great. He sat there for like an additional half hour after the show, which I thought was a pretty cool move, when he could have just very easily, hey, Ray, congratulations, see you later, and gotten right into his, his car. So that told you a little something. And he was very touched with some of the questions. It was people were appreciative, but people had real questions for him too. And he answered everything. He didn't duck anything. And it was pretty cool, I thought, which told you a little bit something. But there's no doubt. I mean, the culture of where things are headed now, and Howie Roseman deserves a lot of this love too, compared to what it was. Even pre-Andy, man, there were a lot of lean years. They went from 1960 to 78 without making the playoffs, guys.
Jeez.
18 years.
Jeez.
Okay? I mean, think about how horrid that was. They didn't sell out the vet. They would have games that were blacked out. The home crowd couldn't watch them. They never won the NFC East. Dallas, they were just the way station for Dallas, just to smoke every single year. They were a placemat.
It'd be a week off. Play your young guys.
Yeah, it was like homecoming every time the Cowboys.
Right. Bro, let me tell you about that, bro. Homecoming. Yeah. What's wrong? D-Gun's boy.
Who?
Mr. Lurie. I need a White Castles franchise at the link. John Dickerson just said that's your boy, D-Gun. That's your boy, man.
Oh my goodness.
Talking about homecomings, bro. My first year I got to college at Kansas State. Kansas State hadn't won a game in 5 years. They won one game the year before. I go there because they're gonna let me play basketball and football. I could have went anywhere I wanted to go, and I went there because I play basketball and football. Long story long, I get there. I'm redshirted. And I'd be damned that teams would have early homecomings to play us, bruh. I mean, we had early and late. I played in 8 homecoming games, including ours.
Oh my God, that's crazy, man.
That's the worst, bro. Yeah, it was that bad, bro. Kansas State, man.
Damn,
that bad.
Wow, 8 homecomings in one season,
bro.
Wow.
My last game was against Colorado. Was in Colorado. They took me. I don't know why they took me. Like I was gonna, burn my red shirt over this last game. There was no way I was gonna play in it. But they dressed me and everything. So I go up there. I'm on the field and I'm watching Colorado. They had these 2 defensive ends, Canavis McGee and Alfred Williams. They were beating us so bad that those 2 came in on offense, were catching 10-yard outs on us, stop routes on us. They had this guy. He was Asian. He didn't have a name on the back of his jersey. There were no buffaloes on his helmet. And he ran a reversal like 20 yards.
Oh my God!
My freshman year, my redshirt year was the worst.
That's
the
unbelievable.
Worst.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, bro, it was bad. It was bad.
All right, you want to hear a funny line from Lane Johnson?
What is that?
Who we had on earlier in the week. Again, you can check out all of this. Go to JAKIBSports.com, JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. We get all the best guests. Okay, not to toot our own horn, but we do. Pretty funny line. So this is, regarding, what's different. Essentially, what's different about you this time around? 5 years later, your team was in a Super Bowl, but you're able to get through it, and you're having, an amazing season. You're playing through the injuries, on and on and on. So that was the question posed to him. What's different about you? He said a little older, a little wiser, a little balder. That was Lane Johnson's. It's funny to see these guys when they get drafted and they have hair and everything is different.
Right.
It was like clean cut, and then
baby faces.
What they look like now. So
look at him now.
But,
looks like he just ripped the arms off kids or something.
Yeah, but that's okay. You're talking about the guy who's the most dominant tackle in football.
Right.
But pretty amazing when you see it. Look, I'm. To me, just to get it back to the point of what we were making with where things are a little bit, I do think Eagles fans appreciate it. Like I don't think that they're walking around oblivious to unless you're really young and you didn't experience it. Then I get it. But the ones who have been around for a little while know how hard this can be. How many disappointments? I mean, just think about it. What it was like. And Gunnar, you covered all these teams during Andy Reid's time. What were they favorites in 4 of those games, and they end up going 1-4. Yeah,
yep.
and they go, yeah, and they they only got 1 Super Bowl appearance out of it, and you lost that one. So even though that era was really good, man, and I think it propelled them to kind of be usually good. You turn it over every couple of years, but that team didn't do what this little era is doing right now.
No, and to add insult to injury, back during that era when they ran 5 consecutive NFC Championship games, they lose to a Carolina team that shouldn't even been on the field with them. But McNabb gets hurt in that game. And then Tampa Bay game still sticks in a lot of people's craws because there was no way anybody on the planet thought Tampa Bay would come in here and beat this team, 27-10. And the signature moment of the game is Rondé Barber running down I-95 with a pick 6 to seal the Eagles' fate. As much as people applaud what they're doing now, people still talk about those moments, But the good thing is, they finally found a way to kind of put that in that rearview mirror with 17, and of course what has happened with this team this year.
Mm-hmm.
But Barrett has said it all the time. I've covered this game for over 4 decades, man. There's no such thing as a given when you play in the NFL. No matter how good you look, the best team on paper does not always win the big moments.
Absolutely.
There's no question about that, And then you got to start all over again, the grind of starting all over again. And since the advent of free agency, the pieces are not the same. When you came up through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and the early 90s, the pieces were, for the most part, the same. You just had to make sure you drafted right so you could add certain pieces to make it a little bit better. But once free agency started, you got and salary caps and all this stuff, it's a revolving door, man. And sometimes when you get that close, you got to step all the way back. Look at the Rams. You got to step all the way back and start all over again now. So appreciate this moment, because like that song says, Rob, you remember who says, "We may never come this way again." Who sang that song?
We may never come this way again.
Is that Crosby, Stills and Nash?
Oh my God, I gotta find it. I don't know.
I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
I mean, it's a classic song.
No, you're right. Seals and Croft. Seals and Croft.
Okay, Seals and Croft.
Never heard of them before.
You never heard of Seals and Croft?
No.
They were huge in the 70s. They had a lot. Diamond Girl. They had a lot of hits. Yeah.
Seals and Croft. I gotta listen to it now.
I'll get you some Seals and Croft knowledge. Don't start me. All right. We'll dig them up right now. All right, let's see. American soft rock band, which is right up your alley, Barrett. You love that. Yacht music, rock yacht music.
Summer Breeze.
Jim Seals and Dash Crofts. First of all, that's a great name, Dash Crofts.
Oh, that's Summer Breeze, man.
Summer Breeze.
Yes, there you go.
Makes
me feel fine.
Yeah.
Blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They had some. They peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Top 100. There you go. They disbanded in '80. They broke up.
Yeah,
that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I do. I went a little too far though. I went to Soundstage and it kind of messed me up, bro. But I was in with the Summer Breeze though, man.
Summer Breeze is strong. Yeah, Summer Breeze.
Yeah, I was in with that.
But yeah, you went too far. You took it a notch too. But really, I mean, it is amazing, and the run they're on with coaches is the other thing. You know, Andy wasn't even a coordinator,
right?
You know, I guess Ray had built up a pretty good reputation, but Ray wasn't a super well-known name when they hired Ray Rhodes. You know, and then they go Andy, and then they go Chip, which was a little bit unconventional, even though he was the hot name. And then they go Doug. And then Nick Sirianni was yet another example of kind of like who?
I knew Chip wasn't going to do well. I knew he wasn't going to do well. Simply because, you know, like the year they hired him, I did like 6 games, you know, Chip's games for ESPN.
Yeah.
And I can remember it was me and Matt Millen. And Millen be trying to interview him, talking about who he's playing against, like Cal Berkeley or Arizona, you know, or Washington State. And instead of talking about them, he would want to talk about, hey, you think my system can work in the NFL? You think it'll be all right? You know, he's like, I don't know if you better do what you're doing right now, man, because, you know, you're dealing with grown men. You know, you're the captain of these kids' fate. Those guys with that are going to be making more money than you, so you just can't tell them. You know what I'm saying? You just can't, you know, this is like I said, you just can't piss on their head and tell them it's raining. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing, though, Barrett. I think that's great insight right there. I think that it was really when the mistake's made, you can go one of two ways. You can kind of just bury your head and woe is me, or you say, all right, I'm going to learn from this and not make this mistake again. And I think Jeffrey Lurie really learned, especially from turning the power over to him. Like, I'm never doing that again. I'm never making that mistake. I probably went against my gut and I gave into a guy who was trying to do a power play on me, and I let him do it. And I think he learned from it. He's not gonna make that mistake again. I don't think, at least.
I would have never thought he'd have fired a coach during the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I told you all you needed to know. He just couldn't do it. He couldn't. I mean, if half the stories are true with the way he fractured the building, that's like secretaries, like, come on, man.
How can the lunch lady not like you? The lunch likes everybody.
Yeah.
You know, how does that happen?
The janitors, security guards, you know, even former players. He alienated former players who hold prominent standing within that organization, man. And
remember, he had what's his name in there? Big Trey.
Yeah.
Big Trey said, I just can't do it, man.
Yeah.
Big Trey left.
I mean, his running gun style of practices and running players in the ground, not respecting veterans. He treated everybody like whether they were a rookie or a 10-year vet the same. That rubbed people the wrong way, man. His only saving grace was first 2 years he won 10 games. That was his only saving grace. And then all of a sudden the bottom fell out that third year, and they couldn't wait, you know.
Coordinators paid millions of dollars, man, to stop gimmick stuff, man.
Yeah. And I think the final straw was after one game. He got fired in December, I believe it was.
Yep.
And it was the day after he held a press conference. And I was there, and I forgot the question that was asked, but he basically put it off on somebody else. I didn't make that decision. That's not my decision. And I guess
no,
Jeffrey
he said no.
Lurie, that's it.
He's like, no, I'm not the GM. I'm not the GM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was the final straw. That was it, you know.
Yeah, when DeMarco Murray went and set up there next to the owner and told him, hey man, you got to get rid of this dude. And he got rid of him 2 days later.
But when you've been given carte blanche, you walked in the door as this college wonder kid, and you had enough carte blanche to get the existing GM jettisoned down the hall.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you think you can do and say whatever you want whenever you want, as long as you produced on the field? Why wouldn't you? Anybody would.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
But the fact that was his approach, he basically tried to use a college approach in the NFL. He was a god at Oregon.
Right.
And nobody could tell him nothing. You know, even the ADs were you know, subjected to him.
Yep.
You know, why wouldn't you think he took a 4-12 team in 1 year, made him a 10-6 team. Why wouldn't you believe that if the owner can allow me to cast aside the GM, I can do whatever I want here?
Yeah.
Plus, he was trying to get out of Oregon anyways, because they were going on suspended. They were about to get suspended and everything else.
Investigations.
Yeah, I hear you. It's true, man. It's true. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, Jason Kelce was asked today about Sirianni, and he said he's done a phenomenal job creating an atmosphere where players and coaches can be the best versions of themselves. I don't think that was Chip's objective. Was basically like, this is the way it is, and you guys figure it out. And it's like, that stuff doesn't work, man. You're not around 19-year-olds. And back then, you had much more of a hammer than the guys even do now in college sports because of the transfer portal and NIL. When Chip was there, he could guess what? You're not playing. You don't like it, you're not playing. You do it my way, and it's not like that anymore.
Look at all the talent he pushed out of the building.
He did. Yes, he did. That's for sure. All right, we'll come back. Oh my God. Kapadia. Yeah,
Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're right, Gunner. Like, transcendent kind of talent. So we'll talk to Sheil, who's a podcaster and writer for The Ringer, when we come back. Don't go anywhere. That's Derek Gunn. That's Barrett Brooks. I'm Rob Ellis, hanging out with you on this Friday. Let's talk about Pro Action Restoration. Pro Action Restoration are the folks that you reach out to if your business, your home, a property you may own goes through the inconvenience, the pain and that you have to deal with of fire, of water, of smoke damage, of mold remediation. You name it, they can handle it. Pro Action is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week. That means if you have a problem at night, you have a problem on a holiday, you have a problem on a weekend, you can call them. I can tell you that for a fact. I called them on a Saturday, and they got right out to my parents' house. Crew was professional. They cleaned it up. The price was reasonable. You name it. It was a great experience. The other good thing, they are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. That is a reputable company. Just go online and just look at some of the write-ups on them, and nothing short of amazing. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. They can handle anything: water, fire, smoke, mold damage. You name it, they are the folks to reach out to. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Jeff D'Ambrosio doesn't need a special event to appreciate his customers. Jeff shows his appreciation to them every day of the year. Jeff makes sure to stock more new inventory than anyone and guarantees prices and payments that nobody can beat. There are so many reasons that thousands of customers know Jeff is the easy, friendly place to do business. More for their trades, no judgment zone for credit issues, the best, most reliable service department in the country. That's why I like Jeff, and I know you will too. Jeff will satisfy you every day. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Owner Appreciation Event.
Weather forecasting is a team game.
We rely on each other every day, updating the models and passing along new critical information.
We have a team of 5 experienced meteorologists and a specialized weather producer, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Sometimes what I see in the model, Cecily could see something different.
That's when we come together as a team to make our most accurate prediction.
And all of this backed by more than 100 AccuWeather scientists. It's a team game.
And we have the best team in town.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
All right, welcome back on this Friday. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. D. Gunn, B. Brooks, R. Ellis. Always love the insights of our next guest. You can follow him on Twitter at Sheil Kapadia. Does an amazing job with his podcasting and his writing for The Ringer. You've seen him all over the place. The Athletic, ESPN, Philly Mag back in the day, you name it. The one and only Sheil Kapadia. What's up, Sheil?
Yeah, you reminded me how old I am naming all these places I've worked. So we don't need to do that during the intro next time.
These were internships. They were internships when you were in kindergarten, Sheil. Okay?
That's right. There you go.
Just to be clear. So we were just talking about this. I want to pick up on the conversation before we get into the Super Bowl matchup for a minute. But, Sheil, you know, as a native of this area, that the Eagles have gone through crazy long stretches without winning. I mean, they went 57 years between championships. Need I say more, right? What we're seeing is very unique. The fact that they're back here 5 years later, I know it's under a different coach and, you know, quarterback, et cetera. Nonetheless, this time period, and you can maybe date it back to Jeffrey Lurie taking over or whatever you want, but this is rarefied air for this organization.
It really is. I spent kind of after they won that NFC Championship game, spent some time writing a column for The Ringer and thinking about it. Like the first 20 years of my life, it didn't happen, and you thought it was going to happen the last game of the Vet against Tampa. You thought it was going to happen the first year at the Link against that Panthers team, and it didn't happen. And it felt, I'm sure, for many Eagles fans like it was never going to happen. I mean, think about what it took for them to just get there in 2004. It took adding, maybe the best wide receiver, one of the three best wide receivers in the NFL to the mix to kind of have that special season and get there. And so now to get there 2 times in 6 years, I mean, everybody watching, listening to this, you could live to 100 and legitimately that might never happen again, where 2 times in 6 years, the team you root for, the team you pay money to get the gear and the tickets and hang out with friends and family, all that, hoping that just one of these years, you're going to be one of the last 2 teams standing. To do that 2 times in 6 years, it really is special and kind of worth taking in for Eagles fans.
Sheil, what has impressed you the most about this entire journey that this Eagles team has been on this season?
It's a good question because there's the known and the unknown, So the known was going into the season just impressed with the pure talent. I mean, maybe the most talented team we've ever seen in our lifetimes, watching the Eagles or whatever. When you just look top to bottom, every position, looking for a weakness, the amount of all pros, that really stood out to me. But aside from that, it's got to be Jalen Hurts. I mean, that was the question. I'm pretty sure I was on with you guys, whether it was early in the season or before the season, and just saying, I don't know. It's going to be one of three things. Either he's going to play great and they're going to have a magical season and he's going to get rewarded with the big contract, or he's going to play solid but maybe not spectacular like we saw last year, and they're going to be a good team, but you're still going to go into the offseason saying, what's the answer at quarterback? What are you doing at quarterback? Or he's going to regress, which I think, that was always the least likely scenario, but within the range of outcomes. So the way he kind of just continues to improve and become sort of the face of the franchise. Like there was a clip in the locker room, I think after last game, where Brandon Graham is addressing the team and he says, like Jalen says. And I'm like, man, think of everything Brandon Graham has seen in his career. I had hair when Brandon Graham was first playing for the Eagles. Like this guy has been through the ups and downs, the coaching changes, the lows of lows. And now this guy, the longest tenured Eagle, when he's addressing the team after they make the Super Bowl, he's referencing what the second-year starting quarterback is saying. I mean, I think that really speaks to kind of that connection, that leadership that Jalen Hurts has shown this season.
Well, Shill, man, we know how great Andy is, man. Does this coaching staff have enough? You know what I'm saying, as far as coaching, because we know we have the better roster. Eagles have the better roster. To me, they have the better roster. Best roster in the NFL. Does Nick have enough to outduel one of the greatest?
Yeah, I was thinking about the difference between this Eagles team and the 2017 team. And now that we've had time to reflect, like the 2017 team, I put more on like, what an incredible coaching job. I mean, you compare position by position to this team. It's like, man, this team has the edge talent-wise. And so I agree with you there that they have the edge talent-wise against the Chiefs. And then you go back to Andy. I mean, my line has been, and I don't know if you guys think this is fair or unfair, I would give Andy the edge from sort of today until Sunday at 6:40 or whenever kickoff is. Yep. But for those 3.5 hours, I think I might give the edge to the Eagles coaching staff because it's gone under the radar. But Nick Sirianni's game management has been outstanding this year. I mean, try to think of the instances where they've screwed up the clock at the end of the half or at the end of the game, using timeouts, all those different things, when to go for two, when to go for it on fourth down, not getting the play calls in. Like, you look at some of these teams around the league, it's 3 times a game. The quarterback's going over to the coach saying, get the play call in, and then you wasted timeout. Like all that stuff, to Nick Sirianni's credit, he's done a brilliant job managing these games. So you never know how the nerves and the stage, are going to affect a guy. But we all know, for as great as Andy Reid is and a Hall of Fame coach and one of the greatest coaches in the last 25 years, that is still his weakness, in my opinion, those in-game situations where you have to figure it out on the fly. What are we doing right now? How are we going to adjust? Now, I think Patrick Mahomes has sort of taken that out of Andy Reid's hands because he's really good at that too. So you'll see him just waving off the sideline saying, don't worry, I got this. I know when we need a timeout. But just that's something I've got my eye on in the Super Bowl, is sort of those little things in terms of clock management, timeout usage, getting the plays in.
Like Smitty.
Yeah,
Smitty.
Getting right up and telling
They practice that. They practice
100%. I mean, he didn't waste a second, right? There was a signal. They had him mic'd up with Devontae Smith. I don't know if you guys saw, and they kind of bleeped that part out because I'm pretty sure they've got a word that, hey, when you need everyone to hustle up, yell this word, everyone communicate that word, everyone get up to the line of scrimmage, and he was on top of it. So that they are a smart, well-coached team, no doubt about it.
Shield, that's a great point, because I think because Nick is so emotional and wears his heart on his sleeve and boisterous sometimes and all those other things, and I don't mean that's not negative to me. He's genuine. But because of that, I think sometimes the way he runs this thing gets overlooked. They're prepared every week, man. Every single week. You're right. In game, it's been almost flawless this year. I mean, I just think watching what Kyle Shanahan did last week, watching Mike McCarthy, the last few years, whatever, you see these guys who can't handle it. So, something goes haywire during the game. That's never the case with Nick. As emotional as he might get when it comes to decision making, man, he's right on.
And I think it even goes back to last year when he gives up the play calling. Like, that helps. I mean, some of these coaches, they just want to do everything. Yeah, I've got the play calling. Don't worry. Wide receivers unhappy coming off the field. I'll handle that. Or when to call time. You can't handle everything. Like, it's hard. It's a high stress environment. You're on the clock. And so I think that was smart by Nick Sirianni to give that up last year, kind of show that humility to give that up. And now you can focus on some of the other stuff for sure.
Sheil, we've talked about this throughout the week, and you know, you look at the journey that this team has taken this year. It didn't start this year. It started in 2021 when Howie sat there and admitted in front of us that he needed to do a better job of listening to outside, you know, more so than thinking he was the smartest guy in the room. And I think that speaks volumes in terms of a person growing, you know, even for as long as he's been tenured with his organization. You know, you should never stop growing as a person. And it took him a little bit longer maybe than it should have. But the bottom line is he learned his lesson well. And lo and behold, look at where we are right now.
Yeah, there were definitely fractures in that building, you know, in 2020 when you're looking at, and I've done reporting on this for The Athletic, just when you look at coaching staff and front office, and they had to move the analytics department from one part of the building to another side of the building because there was clashing there. And so everybody wasn't on the same page. There was, you know, some confusion about, well, if Howie's making the final pick, you know, these final say on these draft picks, like, is our input being valued? Because we don't know what this department said. We don't know what he was the only one who had all the answers, him and Jeffrey Lurie, who had all the information from all these different departments that worked together. And so I think, you know, maybe after 2020, maybe after that thing ended with Doug Peterson and that coaching staff, they said going forward, we have some improvements to make. And listen, I don't know specifically what's changed, how much has changed, how long lasting it is. It's always tough when a team's winning like this. Everyone's hugging and, you know, everyone's feeling good. And then the next year, if you go 7-10, then all of a sudden it changes right away. But I think you're right. I mean, just the moves they've made the last 2 years, like really for Howie, this is kind of an unprecedented rebuild to go where they are in 2020 and to have to get off that Carson Wentz contract to now all of a sudden have the most talented roster in the NFL. There's no doubt he's pushed a lot of the right buttons for sure.
Sheil, let me ask you, if just from the game itself, what areas would concern you most from an Eagles standpoint? I know the obvious is Mahomes and that kind of thing, but what would worry you if you're an Eagles fan about this matchup?
Well, the hardest thing with Mahomes, and I'm working on a piece now that'll be up on the Ringer on Monday, and I'm trying to look at every angle of Mahomes. Is there a weakness? And my goodness, you look at him versus man, him versus zone, him versus single high safety, him versus split safety, him versus 1, 2, 1. Like, that's where he ranks among every starting quarterback in every category. So that is the challenge for this defensive coaching staff. I mean, I think if you're the Eagles, obviously he's the number one issue there, and it's obvious to say, but it's just so hard to game plan against him and know what buttons to push there to just kind of keep him in check. Because even his worst games are like an average game for a normal starting quarterback in the NFL. Like, the guy really does not have bad games. So you have a lot of decisions to make on that side of the ball. And then on the other side of the ball, I think you have to have a plan for Chris Jones. I mean, that sounds obvious, but really, if you look at the talent the Chiefs have defensively, like, he's number one, and he'll line up in different spots. I mean, he had a big sack against the Bengals late where he's lined up at defensive end against their right tackle, smokes the guy, sacks Burrow on third down, and he's the best. You know, Aaron Donald being injured this year, Chris Jones is the best interior pass rusher in the NFL. So you have those certain people that you kind of identify on the Chiefs and say, you know, when you start the game plan, this is who you need to game plan for. And Chris Jones is at the top of that list.
Do you have any concerns with how the offense has been running? The last 2 weeks, we haven't got our two main receivers involved in it, but we bone the teams out. Is there any concern that there's something wrong with it, or you know, or they don't have to use it right now?
Yeah, I have some concerns with how they finished the season. And at first I thought that was offensively specifically. At first I kind of thought that was overblown, and it still might be. But if you just kind of look at their offensive performances since Jalen Hurts got back, from the injury. And it's been a little wonky because week 18, you have like a preseason game plan. So I don't want to put too much into it, but certainly that was not a great offensive performance. And then you have the divisional round there against the Giants where you play pretty well. And then you have this game against the Niners where it was a real grind offensively. And to your point, excuse me, got a little all this talking. I'm not used to it. The downfield passing game has not been there in recent weeks. And so that to me is certainly a concern and something you have to get back on track here. And you're going to have to take advantage of those young corners on the Chiefs. So that's something else that in recent weeks hasn't been there. It's got to be there in the Super Bowl.
Sheil, how much of it do you think is just health? How much of it is dictated by the fact that, let's face it, these games weren't all that close. You didn't really have to throw a ton, in the second half of the Giants game and or the 49ers game. When you look at it, I'm just talking about from a passing game perspective. And Jalen will tell you, he's been pretty frank. I'm not right. I'm battling through it. I'll be okay. I'm playing in the Super Bowl, whatever. But how much of it is just circumstances of games where they've been, had pretty sizable leads too?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, you look at the circumstances, it's what you said. And then also the Niners have the best defense in the NFL. So I've been playing this game, with myself here in the last few days saying how much stock to put into it because you have the Niners had the best defense in the NFL. You played well against the Giants in the divisional round. Week 18, you had a preseason game plan. It didn't really matter. So there are these varying circumstances. Like it wouldn't surprise me if they came out and played really well offensively in the Super Bowl. But to Barrett's point there, the passing game has looked a little more uneven, whereas early in the season, it felt so easy, right? You would sit down, watch these games and go, what doesn't every offense do? They're just going right down the field with these, doing whatever they want. And it hasn't been the case for like the last month or so. So you're right, Rob. There's been certain circumstances about why that's been the case. And the Chiefs don't have a great defense. Like I would put them middle of the pack, but Steve Spagnuolo, his kind of calling card throughout his career is he can put together a great game plan for 1 week in the playoffs where you say, you know what, throw all the stats from the whole season out the window. He knows how to attack this specific team specifically when given 2 weeks. So I'm giving you a wishy-washy answer because I don't know. It's something I'm trying to figure out what the level of concern should be for the offense because I really could see it going either way where if they lose the game, we look back and say, well, yeah, we should have seen that coming. They weren't that clean the last month of the season. And if they come out and move the ball and play great, say, well, there was a reason why they didn't move the ball. They were right back to being the team we all thought they were.
Sheil, we are still 9 days away from kickoff. But as we sit here right now and your writing wheels are spinning, what are your one biggest storyline for each team right now?
I think the biggest story of the game is the Eagles pass rush against the Chiefs offensive line. I mean, really, I'm going to spend a lot of words talking and writing over the next 9 days. I could probably just give that piece of analysis, and I feel very strongly that by the time Sunday night rolls around, that's going to be the story of the game. I mean, this Eagles defense, their pass rush, I mean, not even 8 deep. We're talking like 10 deep, rotating guys in and out. They're healthy. They sack opposing quarterbacks, I think, 11% of the time. It's like the highest rate in the last 20 years of any team in the NFL. And then you have a magician on the other side, where if you watch these games, when they have the Chiefs have issues up front, Mahomes makes it right. Like he knows how to move, he knows how to maneuver. He has this, we talk about the arm angles and the throwing all the time, but just like the spatial awareness of he knows what, like he has something in his head where he knows where every player on the field is at all times. So to me, that's really, going to be the biggest story in this game. And certainly from a Chiefs perspective, I mean, I'm sure Andy Reid is looking at this going, we're not going to let their pass rush wreck this game because we know what happened in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They totally remade their entire team after that. And I think he's going to say, no, that's not happening this time around. So that's number one on that end. And then on the other end, it's probably what we already talked about. Like, I'm not expecting the Eagles defense to shut down the Chiefs. Their offense is going to have to play their A game. And so it's that thought of how do you attack these Chiefs? How are the Chiefs going to play out? So, I mean, it might be as simple as you can run the ball on them all day long and you can mix in the RPOs if you want to. But, man, you should have an edge with the way your offensive line has been playing, with Jalen Hurts having 2 weeks of rest with that shoulder. You really should be able to run the football on him in this game.
Let me ask you this. What do you contribute the rise of Kenneth Gainwell being, he's not right now, he's splitting reps. They have even reps the last 2 games going into this. Do you think that continues? And what makes him just look so good right now in the playoffs?
He's this year's Corey Clement. It feels that way. I don't know if you guys have made the same
great comparison.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I use that?
Yeah, no, I stole it from someone else, Barry.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't even know who to credit it to at this point. Whoever said it first, but I thought it was really accurate because I don't think any of us watching this team during the season in week 12, week 14, were saying Kenny Gainwell needs more touches. I mean, I don't remember that conversation really happening. And then all of a sudden, you watch the playoffs. Like you said, they're splitting snaps. And it's warranted. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I mean, shouldn't that be the case in the Super Bowl? 100%. And I think not only is Gainwell running it well, but as a receiver, and it sort of felt this way for most of the season when you look at third down, it feels like they trust him more on third down, whether that's blitz pickup, whether that's his route running. But they had, I think it was a 3rd and 5 in that game against the Niners. He leaks out into the flat. Jalen Hurts gets him the ball, makes a linebacker miss, runs through a tackle, 17-yard gain by the time he gets out of bounds. So I think he's going to be a factor for sure in this game. And, I would expect him to continue to play well. He's really been doing a good job recently.
Let me follow up on what Barrett just started, because I want to hear from all 3 of you on this. Me going to the well of conspiracy theories again. Maybe Gainwell is getting more touches so the organization can help decide, do they need to keep Miles Sanders? Are they okay moving on from Sanders based on why not?
Oliver Stone.
Right.
Why not?
Why
Think about it
now? Let's wait till 2 weeks from now.
No, think about it. Think about it. And we can see this unfold in the Super Bowl game as well. They've got to make decisions. We've been talking about this for months. Maybe this is a part of helping them make a decision for the immediate future. Nobody wants to touch that one.
No, I wasn't sure. Well, Barrett. I mean, I would be surprised at this stage if that was if this were happening like week 7 or 8. I would say, okay, yeah, I could. Maybe that is part of it. Now, the coaching staff, if you're kind of going to them with that, Nick Sirianni, we said is a fiery guy. I think it would be like, listen, I'm gonna put the guy in who's gonna we're in the Super Bowl, who's gonna give me the best chance to win. I don't care what we do in the offseason with Miles Sanders' contract, but it could be an effect of that, Gunner. I think I don't think it's the motivation, but could it be the effect of that where Gainwell plays well again, Miles Sanders hits the open market, and you say, all right, Gainwell, maybe we sign a veteran for the minimum, maybe we draft someone in the 5th round and do kind of a running back by committee, because you have to feel much better about Gainwell now than maybe you did 8 weeks ago. So, I could see that being an effect of it for sure.
Sheil, were you concerned when the Eagles signed Reddick that they weren't going to necessarily use him the right way? We saw early in his career that he wasn't used the right way. Did that concern you? Because I know you had some concerns about Gannon in general, but did that worry you?
Yeah, I think I was, my line was that Reddick tells you how good the defensive coordinator is, because he's been in different schemes, and there have been times where he hasn't played well, they haven't used him well, and there have been other times where he has played well. So I think 1, Gannon deserves credit for that, but 2, I would say Reddick is not I don't know if limited is the right word, but you look at his market, he got $15 million per year, which is a nice number. But you look at some of the other pass rushers in the NFL who have his sack production, who are his age, and they're making, $2, $3, $4 million more than that. And so I think there was this thought around the league, and this isn't the first time he's been a free agent, by the way. So I think there was this thought around the league about, he doesn't fit every scheme. You have to use him the right way. And honestly, if you watch his film, he can line up against the right tackle and kick that guy's butt consistently. You can stunt him and he's great doing stuff like that, and you can move him around. You can also line him up there, and he has shown he can kill that guy, destroy that guy. He's done that time and again. And so I think he's probably opened some eyes, not only with the Eagles, but league-wide. Like, no, I'm not a limited player who needs to be in a perfect scheme and you need to draw up plays for me to get to the quarterback. Let me line up there, and my sort of pass rush arsenal has expanded, and I can just win my one-on-one. So, I mean, the guy's been incredible. 19 and a half sacks in 19 games. And I've been saying these aren't like Jason Babbitt type sacks, where you look at the box score at the end of the year and go, wait, he had how many sacks this year? No, these are – you're watching the game, and at the end of the game, you're going, well, I know Hassan Reddick had a major impact because he made X number of game-changing plays. So he's a big factor in this game because you look at that Chiefs offensive line, great in the interior, maybe one of the best 2 or 3 guard center guards in the NFL. You look at tackle, I'm not going to say they're bad or terrible or anything like that, but that's kind of where the weakness is, where you can get to them a little bit. So whether it's Reddick, Josh Sweat, or Brandon Graham, I think, one of those guys has to be heard from in the Super Bowl for the Eagles to produce some negative plays.
All right, I put my address in the private chat, okay? And you can send me that Jordan plaque in your back, bro.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck. No shot.
It's hot, man. Just let you know it's hot, man.
I love you. Shield's backdrop's cool. Very cool. I'll tell you the other advantage, Shield. They got all 22 starters, man. That's insane how healthy they are. And that's the other thing. We all of us, what are they doing in the preseason? What's happening here? Maintenance days, this and that. Every team around the league is like, how is this even possible? Just ask San Francisco, who was down 4 quarterbacks last week. It's
Walkthrough on Wednesday? What?
Yeah.
It's really unheard of, 22 starters by the time you get to this point in the season. I mean, I haven't looked back and seen how many teams have had that, but it's really kind of the underlying thing in the NFL where we spend all these hours, words with all our analysis. And usually when you look at who's, not every year, but usually when you look at who's in the Super Bowl, you say, wow, those teams had kind of the best injury luck of any team in the NFL this season. It really matters. And so, they're in a great spot. The Chiefs got a little banged up in that AFC Championship game. So keep an eye on that injury report as we go into next week. But the Eagles, it's like, unless somebody gets injured in practice with, knock on wood, you don't want to see anything like that happen. But unless something like that happens, they're going into this game ready to play anyone and everyone they need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question. Shield, what's your feel, man? I know we're 9 out here, right? It's not, you usually dig a little bit deeper as we get into the next week, but you got a vibe right now, at least of where this thing could go here with the game?
Yeah, I've been flip-flopping. Honestly, I'm leaning Eagles right now just because, to what Barrett said initially, like you go position by position and, man, you're putting a lot of checks in the Eagles column just in terms of better corners, better wide receivers, better O-line, better D-line. I mean, there's only, a handful of places you would say give the Chiefs the edge. And then I remind myself, one of those places is that quarterback who, 20 years from now, we might be saying that's the greatest guy we ever saw play football, the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. He's in his prime. And in my head, I'm going, are they going to go 5 years with Mahomes as the quarterback with just 1 Super Bowl? Like, it almost feels like they should have more by now. And this is a good spot for them as well. So I kind of flip-flop on those 2 thoughts throughout the course of the day, and we'll see where I am by like Thursday, Friday of next week. I think if I had to pick it today, I would give the Eagles a slight edge without feeling overly confident about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Shield, we appreciate it, brother. Are you headed out to Phoenix? Are you going to the game?
I am. I'll be headed out there on Monday for the week. So we'll have our podcast, the Ringers Philly Special, from there every day. And then we'll be writing stuff for theringer.com.
Shield, keep up the good work, man. Follow him at Shield Kapadia. Shield, we really do appreciate it, bro.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, guys.
Always
good talking to you.
man.
Take care.
Yep.
Take care, Shield. Interesting insights. He's right, guys. As much as you look at the matchups, right, and you say offensive line Eagles, defensive line Eagles, secondary Eagles, receivers, especially with Kansas City being banged up, Eagles, right? As much as you look at that, there is still that little party that says, ugh, Mahomes. And that's nothing against Hurts, but it's real, man. That dude is a magician.
Mahomes and Kelsey.
Because they're the backbreakers, Barrett. You got them at a 3rd and 5. They're getting 6.
And then they turn around and then run it back, man. Then work that running back in now. So
you cannot overlook the fact that this is supposed to be a reloading, a retooling year for the Kansas City Chiefs. They emerge as the number 1 seed. They win 14 more games. They've won 16 games now. And as I mentioned yesterday when I went through the numbers, they have 3 first, second-year players on offense, 4 or 5 first, second, third-year players on defense. And here they are, just like the Eagles, 1 win away from winning a Super Bowl. You can't, I mean, you can say what you want. Yes, on paper, there's no question the Eagles are a superior team. But that scheme that they run there in Kansas City has stood the test of time for the last 4 years in particular. Yeah. They're in the 3rd Super Bowl in the last 4 years. We talk about the rarity of Eagles being in a Super Bowl for the 2nd time in 5 years. This team's going to the 3rd one in 4 years. And the pieces keep changing. And one of the most explosive pieces in the history of the game in Tyreek Hill was not a part of this. And they're still back again. Yeah. But when you talk about that dude Mahomes and that dude Kelsey, and people, well, if you blanket him, everybody says, and it's true. The mindset, if you blanket Kelsey, you'll have a measure of success. It's like that old adage, you can't stop them, but you only hope to contain them.
Yeah.
You know? And like I said earlier in the week, early in the season, the dude had 7 catches for 25 yards, but 4 of them for touchdowns. He's going to find a way to be effective in that offense. They are going to find a way to utilize every asset of him whatsoever. And that's what makes it an interesting storyline to build up to this game, especially starting next week.
Yeah.
You know, what is Nick Sirianni going to do with this offense? Are they going to blow him out? How does Andy Reid counter? What tricks do they have up their sleeves? Because you know it's not going to be conventional football from Kansas City's part.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it really, and Shield touched on it, guys, and we'll talk about it a ton over the next, week plus. But I just don't know. Despite Mahomes' magic, can that offensive line hold up? He was magical Mahomes a few years ago, and I know that offensive line was really banged up, but that's how they lost that Super Bowl, man. It was relentless pass rush in his face.
Yeah, so, that Patriots team put it on him, bro.
Yeah, he did. And so what did Andy Reid do? What did their staff do? They ran out and rebuilt that line. They drafted the dude Creed Humphrey for center, an excellent center, and they spent a lot of money in free agency to shore up that line. Okay? So they made the necessary adjustments to get back to where they are now,
Except for the tackle position.
Yeah.
They're kind of lacking right now.
Are they? Is it due to injury or
it's due to this? They're just not as good as they've had before.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where it's at. I mean, can the Eagles, for me, get to Mahomes, which I think no reason to believe they can't, and they're going to stay committed to the run and pound it down Kansas City's throat, which I think they can make some real hay doing that. That's
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Those
keep that dude off the field. Control the clock like you did against the 49ers. Keep that dude off the field.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, we'll continue with the Eagles discussion. It was good stuff from Shield right there. We'll continue with the Eagles discussion when we come back in a little bit. We are going to dive into Barrett's going to give us his offensive game plan against the Chiefs. We'll get into some NFL stuff, some off the field issues, some coaching discussions and whatnot. We're going to have Dan Koob join us from Sport Trade at 2:30, talk about the line movement in this game. But we come back, Barrett will give us a game plan. A Sixer gets snubbed, and we'll take some chat section questions as well. So chat folks, throw a question mark in front of what you want to ask us, and we will we'll field some of the best ones when we come back. So don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Now it's time to tell you about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So if you have any issues in your yard or in your property, they're just a quick phone call away. And they serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Keep in mind, we're in that time of year right now where we get some nasty winds, some bad weather. You want to make sure you get your trees evaluated because those trees could come down very easily in the wrong kind of weather, heavy winds, etc. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for a sampling of their work or more information. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Jeff D'Ambrosio doesn't need a special event to appreciate his customers. Jeff shows his appreciation to them every day of the year. Jeff makes sure to stock more new inventory than anyone and guarantees prices and payments that nobody can beat. There are so many reasons that thousands of customers know Jeff is the easy, friendly place to do business. More for their trades. No judgment zone for credit issues. The best, most reliable service department in the country. That's why I like Jeff, and I know you will too. Jeff will satisfy you every day. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Owner Appreciation Event.
Weather forecasting is a team game.
We rely on each other every day, updating the models and passing along new critical information.
We have a team of 5 experienced meteorologists and a specialized weather producer, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Sometimes what I see in the model, Cecily could see something different.
That's when we come together as a team to make our most accurate prediction.
And all of this backed by more than 100 AccuWeather scientists. It's a team game.
And we have the best team in town.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
We're back, baby. We are hanging out with you, Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks. Did you know? I'm going to give you an early on this date. On this date, 2017 was our final episode of Breakfast on Broad. Yeah, you're on mute, but yeah, it just popped up in my Facebook memories. I didn't even realize it myself, man. It was Jay Farrow wreaking havoc. Yeah. Yeah, that was it, man. that was this day. Isn't that crazy? It was this day 6 years. I said 5 years, 6 years ago, right?
Yeah, I wasn't there for that last show. I got my pops had passed away the day before, but
yeah,
I watched the show.
Oh,
I don't know. I know Jillian could turn those shades of red.
Yeah, look like some of the banners behind me. Yeah,
right.
But, yeah, that was it, man. The end of an era. So just passing that along.
That was a great show, bro. That was a great show.
It was fun. We had a lot of fun. It was too short, but it was fun.
That was my first time being on TV and really, you know what I'm saying?
On a regular basis. Yeah.
So it was a 2-hour show. I might have said 50 words that first whole week.
Yeah, that's funny, man. Oh, hey, let me give you this. So these are the Eagles players, according to Jeff McClain. I meant to get to this earlier. Sorry. That will be on risers during Super Bowl media night on Monday. Meaning they're the guys who are going to be accessible, right?
Yep.
No surprise. Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Darius Slay, and Miles Sanders. So for my first reaction to that is, you better not be taking anything Jordan Mailata says live. If you do, my man curses up a storm. A storm. Okay?
Hey, he cursed worse than somebody else I know.
Whoa. All right. So he's the first one. But any names not there that surprise you guys?
No.
Devontae, maybe?
No.
He's not a talker anyway.
Yeah, I know he's pretty quiet. Yeah. True.
The thing is, though, they're going to get asked some of the dumbest questions on the planet, because you always have these entities like these websites and all this stuff that are always, the people have no to ask them, hey, can I get you to do a promo for us? Yep. Like a 5-second promo. You're watching so-and-so. Yeah. And players look at him like, what?
Yeah.
And the funniest part is when you get the foreign media there, they don't talk in football jargons. You stand there going, you traveled all this way just to ask this question. Really?
Hey, Mike, do you really eat cheese steaks, Mike?
Or you get that, the smoking hot Mexican reporter.
Don't even get me started with that. And a lot of those entities send those people on purpose because they know players will definitely be looking their way.
Yeah. Yep.
And even though the question has nothing to do with what you're talking about, players will graciously answer that question because of who's standing in front of them.
Quick story.
Yeah.
Quick story. The year we went to the Super Bowl, we're in we're inside the place, Ford, whatever Ford Field is, whatever Ford Field is.
Yeah.
We're sitting in there and we're taking the picture, and it just so happened one of them walked by. And we're trying to take the picture, but nobody's paying attention to the photographer. So he turns around and kindly asks, excuse me, ma'am, could you please step away for about 10, 15 minutes so we can take this picture? Right now, I can't get all eyes on me because they're all on you.
Hey, Barrett, if you remember, too, think about some of the outfits that some of these women wear on purpose to get attention. Hey, Rob, it's like, I don't want to say scandalous, but some of the outfits they'll walk around the arenas on those media days, it's deliberate. Let's just put it like that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And you sit there going, you're lucky. A lot of times you're lucky when, especially if it's not a team you're covering, you're lucky if you get one question in, because there's so many people around them. You got mics holding up like this but sometimes you can't get a question in because the people who strategically want to get up front so we can ask them something off the cuff and make sure you get the person in the shot asking them the question, because we can use that for a promo, or maybe, just maybe, you catch them at the right time and they might just say, hey, okay. Yeah, I'm watching so-and-so for, European Sports Network. Boom. That's the money. That's all they cared about. Spend all that money to get that 5-second promo. Come across season. It's crazy. It's insane what goes on.
Where I was, where they put me at media availability, where they put me at, they so happen to have me in between the bus, Jerome Bettis, and Troy Polamalu. So it looked like I had a lot of people sitting in front of me, but they're trying to get to Troy and Bussy.
Pretty good though, Barrett. I mean, you're rare air right there, man.
Oh man, but it was funny because nobody asked me any questions.
You were along for the ride. Yeah. Oh my God. All right, I hear you. Let's hit a couple things here, guys. So NBA All-Stars were named last night. Joel Embiid is an all-star. He is not starting. We already knew that much. James Harden gets snubbed. He is not an all-star this year.
Should he be?
I think so. I think 21-11, 6.5, 45 from the floor, almost 40 from 3, 86 from the free throw line. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
That's pretty good stat numbers. Yeah, you said 21-11.
Yeah, 6.5 basically.
6.5
rebounds. Almost 45% from field goal range, and 39.4 from 3. So I would say they're pretty good numbers. The only thing, the only thing counting against him is he missed 14 games with the calf. I mean, if you look at Drew Holiday's numbers, it's not even close. Harden's had a much better year.
Negadelphia, alive and well.
So who are the starters then? For guard.
Giannis. I'm doing this off the top of my head.
I don't think they picked the teams yet, have they?
Yeah, they did last night. Yeah.
Well, if you, Rob, I was listening to the post-game show of that Bucks Clippers game, and the reporter tried to egg Giannis on about, have you decided who you want to pick? He goes, I got a strategy. So is it just that the starters have been named for each squad?
Yeah, you pick between those guys. The starters are named, and then you pick between that pool, right?
And then your reserves, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. The starter,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. So Embiid and John Moran headline the reserves from last night. They're the reserves.
Okay.
We know that.
John Moran a reserve?
Right. Joined by Jaylen Brown.
He started in front of him.
Bam Adebayo, Drew Holiday, DeMar DeRozan, Julius Randle, Tyrese Halliburton in the East. And then the West is, I said, Morant, Domantas Sabonis, Damian Lillard, Paul George, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Larry Markkinen, and Jaren Jackson. They're your reserves.
Well, I'm looking at it. Trae Young didn't make it.
Exactly.
Trae Young didn't make it.
Devin Booker missed a lot of time. Anthony Davis, Trae Young, Pascal Siakam, Jimmy Butler, and Harden. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
Darius Garland. He's had a great season.
Yes, he has. You're right. He has.
Fox didn't make it either.
Yep.
Wow.
Now you get Durant and Zion both out with injuries right now. So if either of them, then it's February 19th, by the way. So we're 16 days away. So you got a little while. But Commissioner Adam Silver chooses the replacement if it's not those guys.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. So this year's All-Star game, it's the sixth time the NBA has conducted a draft of the 24 players, with each team led by their captain, Giannis for the East and LeBron for the West. The new wrinkle this year is the draft itself will take place shortly before the game begins. So that's the different thing.
Okay.
Derek.
Okay.
This year, yeah.
Well, I remember yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, you said that the Eagles may have some interest with the trade deadline. He said it's next week.
Yeah, it's 6 days from now. Yeah, the 9th.
Well, Andre Drummond, he plays for Bulls now. Andre Drummond had 15 points, 11 rebounds in just 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
Sheesh.
And I know they liked him. They had to give him up in the Ben Simmons deal last year with Seth Curry. But yeah, I'll tell you the other one that should have gotten in. Jalen Brunson has been ridiculous for the Knicks.
Exactly.
He has been.
Exactly. And he didn't get in.
But I really believe that Drummond trade may happen, because I know Doc doesn't like either one of these two guys backing up. I just my feel, for these guys with Doc. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe with injuries, somebody's maybe not as banged up, but just doesn't want to be involved and fake something. Maybe one of these guys gets in. We'll see how that ends up shaking out. Hey, did you realize LeBron's only 63 points shy of the all-time scoring mark by Kareem?
Isn't that something? Well, he's been in the league 34 years, so I mean,
yeah.
It's about time. He was in the league since he was 12, so I mean,
right.
It was only a matter of time.
Yeah, it's true.
63 points, that's it.
That's it, man. He's going to do this in 2 or 3 games, probably.
And then the thing is, I assume he's going to come back and play next year, so that record would be almost untouchable if he plays another season beyond this, which he will.
But they say he's trying to play with his son, but his son just ain't good enough to be, go to school 1 year and then be in the pros.
Yeah, but you know what, Barrett? His son may make it just because of his dad. Prime example, Giannis's brother been sitting on the Bucks bench forever. His brother ain't a third of the player Giannis is, but yet his brother's still collecting 7-figure income every year. And I'm thinking, and then when I've seen him get in and play, it's like, dude, there are college players that can smoke this dude right now. And you're playing because your brother's there. And of course, the brother made a commitment that I'm staying in Milwaukee. I'm not going to go and travel around and try to find that super team to play for. So they threw him a bone and said, well, you know what? If you stay here, we'll keep your brother here also.
Right.
Who gets in like once every 12 games?
I wish I had a brother that did me like that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting, how that goes. I think LeBron's kid is down to 3 teams. USC, Oregon, and Ohio State are the 3 teams that he's got left.
Right. I heard he's really leaning towards Oregon.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Huh.
Why wouldn't you?
You'll be there for 2 years and then try to make the jump.
Yeah, I mean, obviously USC would be closer to home. Ohio State, he's got the ties to the state of Ohio. But Oregon, good for him, man. It seems like you've been there, Barrett. I heard it's an insane campus. I heard it's just beautiful.
You can tell Phil Knight's hands are all over it. Like his son passed away, so he has he built the sports building in honor of him.
Okay.
And there's not one NFL team that's better than him.
Really, it's that amazing. Wow,
it's amazing.
Wow,
that's
pretty
truly
cool.
Amazing.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, John Dickerson makes a good point. He'll get the Nike NIL deal, which could be insane. Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Not wrong. Not wrong about that. That's for sure. Chat section, you got any questions? Fire away. All right, Barrett. I wanted to. Well, let me hit you with this one too. I thought you guys would find this interesting. So the game played earlier this week, Florida State women against Duke women. The game was at Florida State. So Kara Lawson, who's Duke's head coach, came out after last night's game. I forget who they played last night, Duke, but it wasn't that game. And said during the first half of the Florida State Duke game, they used a men's ball. So her players are coming up to her saying something's off, like something's up. And I guess their team manager or somebody went and checked the ball that was at the scorer's table at halftime and realized it was a men's ball. Now, Florida State's like denying it. And Kara Lawson isn't saying that's why they lost, but she's pretty ticked off. She said this would never happen in a men's game. She's not wrong. I mean, there's no way they would be playing a men's game with a women's ball. So that's kind of crazy. And obviously somebody got wind of it and changed it.
You can tell the size.
Yeah, it's bigger. Yeah.
Way, way bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever, for whatever it's worth. All right, let's get some questions here. Chris D. I know a lot depends on free agent re-signings, but what 2 positions for each of you gentlemen should be a priority in the draft?
Ooh.
Good question, Chris. I would say corner if Bradbury. Go ahead, Gunner.
No, go, Chris. I just want to say, first of all, thank you for calling us gentlemen, because we've been called a lot worse. All right, Rob, continue.
I would say corner, especially if Bradbury walks, would be a huge priority. I think defensive tackle, if Fletcher and Hargrave go, to team somebody with Milton Williams and Jordan Davis might be a consideration as well. I would hit those 2. How about you guys?
It's hard to disagree with that. Definitely a corner. I can't, like I said before, I cannot see them paying James Bradbury big money when you already have another cornerback under a big money contract. That just doesn't happen. You don't pay 2 cornerbacks big money. Now, whether it's free agency or the draft, I would imagine they're going to try to replenish the stock with either a decent cornerback or the future Sauce Gardner, considering they have that 10th overall pick and another pick as well. I can't see him paying it. So I would have to say corner and maybe a linebacker. Maybe they'll go after another linebacker.
Okay. Good question from Sweens here. How do you guys feel about AAA and eventually Major League Baseball moving to an electronic strike zone? It sucks when calls are missed, but a report from John Boy showed that the young umps are calling great games. Look, I do. There's a little piece of me that likes the human element of this thing. It becomes kind of robotic, I guess, but it does feel like that's the way it's going. I guess I don't love it, but I'm almost like resigned to that's where it's going, Sween. So I'm not that cranked up about it. Frankly, I think that's where we're going at some point soon.
First, it does happen. I would think the games will go faster, but also you get a lot more strikes in the strike zone.
It'll make the game go faster.
Yeah, but those off play pitches, you'll lose a lot of those off speed pitchers. You know what I'm saying? It'll mostly go into that forces you to almost be
be around the plate more. That's a great point, Barrett.
Yeah.
The guys who have to nibble and are trying to hit the black of the plate, the guys who have to paint, like Jamie Moyer types, Tom Glavine back in the day. Exactly. It's going to hurt those guys.
Yeah, but it almost have to make everybody fastball pitchers.
That's a good point.
First of all, it's going to put a lot of people out of work. Secondly, anytime you try something new, I mean, obviously we live in a world of advancing technology every year. There's going to be flaws, and how much will those flaws affect it? It will make the game go faster, but there's going to be mechanical flaws somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Luckily you're doing it at a minor league instead of trying it right away at the major leagues, because you work out the kinks at the minor leagues, and then in a year or so they're going to it works there. They're going to implement it in the big leagues as well.
No doubt.
Which is going to cost even more people jobs. So
the one thing that we have seen in the minors is they've used that pitch clock, and it has sped the games up considerably. Like they're like 20 minutes faster. So
yeah,
that's coming. We know that's coming this year. Hey, so it's been about a month and a half, 2 months since Kyrie's done anything, right? There's been any kind of Kyrie dust ups of late?
Yeah, nothing. He's just been balling, but
guess what? He's officially requested a trade from the Nets, and he wants to happen before the February 9th trade deadline, or he will walk in free agency if they don't trade him. So
wait a minute. Did he say that? Did he say that, or somebody associated?
That's a Shams Charania report that's coming out, according to Shams Charania of the Athletic and Stadium. That's his. And Shams and Woj are the two guys. So, I put credence in it. Just so you know, right now, Brooklyn's right there. They're 5.5 games back of first place. They're 2.5 back of the Sixers for third place. They're in fourth. It's interesting timing that he's going to pull this right now when his team's battling.
Well,
but it's Kyrie-esque.
After the way they got their butts waxed the other night by Boston, maybe he realizes, hey, we ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Maybe. But why would you pick now? Come on, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the most optimal time to do it.
Yeah, he can hold him up right now.
Yeah, I get that, but still, dude, seriously. It's not like you're playing for one of the also-ran. You're not playing at Houston, one of the bad teams in the NBA. You're in a team that's in the mix right now. I mean, understand your point. You could have saved that comment for the end of the season. If you're gonna walk, you're gonna walk. Let's just roll.
I mean, right now his compadre isn't playing right now, so I mean that's
KD's out.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Yeah, but then you got Ben playing like a. Yeah.
Well, Barrett. That was my other thought. Like, is this yet another guy? Like Harden wanted to get away from, but I'm not Harden. I'm sorry. There have been others that wanted to get away from this guy in the worst way. I wonder if Kyrie's seen enough of him up close and personal that he wants to get away from him too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what it is.
Interesting. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. And that, the Nets are in a precarious spot. You're in fourth place in the East. What are you getting back for him?
Yeah, exactly.
And did he sign off on the coach, or was it just?
It was the other guy who they got canned. So they wanted Nash, and then they got Nash canned.
Hey, not to throw you off, dude, but did you see this? I don't mean to cut you off. This just starting to roll now from Dave Zangaro and Zach Berman. Avante Maddox back in a walk-in boot today.
Yeah, he's not practicing, and the left foot is in a boot. I know. That's not good.
I just need one more game. I'm sorry to be selfish.
That's not being selfish. That's realistic. That's not selfish.
I mean, at least he's got another week plus to maybe let it heal up, hopefully. That's worrisome, man. That's a couple guys. I know Pat Gallen for CBS 3 said that he noticed when he was coming out of the locker room Sunday that Avante had a really serious limp. So he might have re-aggravated it during the game. Who knows?
If that was the case, the way he played against San Francisco, I want to know what they used to deaden that toe and get him to get through that game. If his limp was that pronounced after that game, I want to know what the heck they're using. What modern technology are you using now to get that dude where you got him for that game Sunday against the 49ers? Yeah. Because that goes way beyond just adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
If that toe's that banged up.
Yeah. Well, I jinxed them talking about how healthy they are, I guess. That's too bad. Well, we'll see. Look, there is a ways to go. The nice thing about having the bye, right? I mean, that's the good thing. You get a little bit more time. Hopefully that thing heals up. Maybe they're just being overly cautious. Keep it in a boot. Keep it stable. Maybe this is me wishful thinking. Who knows?
Right,
but
right.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Let's get a timeout. We'll come back. We'll dive hard. I'm gonna get Barrett's game plan on offense. What you do against this Chiefs defense, and we'll get into a lot of news and notes with the NFL because there's a lot to dive into for sure. Dan Koob coming up at 2:30 from Sport Trade. We'll get the latest on the line, the movement of the line. If he's got any prop bets for us, parlays, or any of that kind of stuff, we'll do all that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Right now, I want to talk to you about Razor Technology and identity management. With cyber threats like ransomware on a seemingly endless uptick and the risk of a breach or data loss even higher than ever, the need to know just who's accessing your networks, systems, and applications is mission critical. Identity management from Razor Technology is a holistic framework of policies and technologies that lock down access to the right users for only the right reasons. They deploy cutting-edge solutions that identify, authenticate, and monitor access across your entire IT system. Razor Technology determines how users gain an identity in your system, what roles they need to fill, and enforces access across controls with network protocols, digital certificates, behavioral analysis, and secure authentication methods. Talk to Razor Technology today to learn how to identify management and how you can reduce the risk of a data breach while avoiding costly errors and downtime due to lack of access. Contact Razor Technology right now at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Jeff D'Ambrosio doesn't need a special event to appreciate his customers. Jeff shows his appreciation to them every day of the year. Jeff makes sure to stock more new inventory than anyone and guarantees prices and payments that nobody can beat. There are so many reasons that thousands of customers know Jeff is the easy, friendly place to do business. More for their trades. No judgment zone for credit issues. The best, most reliable service department in the country. That's why I like Jeff, and I know you will too. Jeff will satisfy you every day. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Owner Appreciation Event.
Weather forecasting is a team game.
We rely on each other every day, updating the models and passing along new critical information.
We have a team of 5 experienced meteorologists and a specialized weather producer, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Sometimes what I see in the model, Cecily could see something different.
That's when we come together as a team to make our most accurate prediction.
And all of this backed by more than 100 AccuWeather scientists. It's a team game.
And we have the best team in town.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Friday, February 3rd, as we inch closer to the Super Bowl, which is a week from Sunday. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks. All right, Brooksy, I need the game plan, man. What do the Eagles do? What can they do to exploit this Kansas City defense. We know Chris Jones is a beast, but what do they need to do against the team overall from an offensive perspective? Muted.
I think they need to use that offensive, their defense aggressive nature against them. With how well they get up the field, Frank Clark and George Karlaftis, the rookie from out of Purdue, they get up the field pretty quick. So why not use, inside runs like the trap, draw plays, get them up the field. You know what I'm saying? Make them be more aggressive in the play calling, and then just run right in behind them, and not just using the running back. I'm not just talking about using Sanders, Gainwell, but also using Jalen, giving him an opportunity to run these draw plays, because if they're going to play man-to-man on the outside, bring blitzes, that means if you keep somebody from getting in their gap, that's going to leave an open hole, and that hole is going to be huge because everybody else is running and following their prospective receivers. They're going to have one-on-one on the outside, one-on-one with the tight end, one-on-one with running backs. Jalen has to go out there and run the ball. And when we do decide to run the ball, let's just run good old-fashioned, hardcore
handoffs, not RPOs, or
man blocking schemes. No okay. RPO, just flat out running. And that's get him pistol and hand the ball, have him going downhill, running traps, running power plays, double team the front side, kick out the backside, hit it downhill. I don't think we need to run outside zones. Keep it all within the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? Run into the teeth of that defense, because those guys, even though they can rush the passer, they're small. The biggest guy is Jones. Everybody else is small pass rushing type of guy. Kaloft is little. Clark is a linebacker-esque type of player. Get in behind them and run behind those guys. That's it in a nutshell. You can run the ball against this defense. Easy.
And I know sometimes during the season they've gotten away from it at times, but they've run it pretty consistently in the playoffs so far against these two teams. Right. And especially, last week they went into a game against the Niners where San Francisco gave up 77 points or 77 yards per game on the ground, and they ripped them for $140 something. So they stayed with it, and they were successful with it. So I think that's good. That's a good mindset they got to be in a headspace they got to be in going into this game.
Right. Well, I'm sorry, man, but A-Dog 205, he said there's billions of people in this world. So there has to be a great punter out there.
Hey, John Dickerson had the best game plan ever. He said, have D-Gun line up and center and crop dust at D-line.
That's true. Hey, man.
All of me like that little girl. That little girl is scarred, man. She don't like black people to this day, bro.
Oh my God.
She don't like any black people because of you, bro.
I'm feeling you, man. I have no comment.
Oh my God.
Fake news.
Hey, look, I might go out and get a Sippos jersey. How bad Kern's been.
Right.
At this point. I might be wearing that Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh man, Sippos, man. Like I said before, man, you ain't even gotta try to run the ball, man. You ain't gotta run it. Just punt it, bro. That's all we want you to do is punt it.
We don't need you. We don't need you going back to your Australian days where you're, rugby or whatever you were up to, man.
Right.
Just catch it and punt it. No, look, I like the game plan. I like the approach. Pound it down, but also, as you talked about yesterday and today, how their corners are going to be aggressive. You're going to have AJ, you're going to have Devontae singled up, and you should be able to do some damage, right? I mean, how good are their safeties corners in coverage? Like, are they going to be able to handle Dallas Goedert?
No. And with Snead being out, he's going to be the slot guy.
He's banged up. Yeah, he's banged up. Yep.
Come on, man. You just got McDuffie, who's a rookie. Watson is the other rookie. Reed, they'll probably try to put Reed on him. He's just too small. He's too small. There's no other way to do it. I mean, they might be able to put Willie Gay if he's healthy enough. Put Willie Gay on him, but I can't see them going out there and having an answer for Dallas Goedert.
Huh.
There's no answer for Dallas. There's no answer for Brown. There's no answers for Smith.
Huh.
You know, and they want to run man-to-man so they can blitz so they can have more than you can block. But when you do that, you run the risk of opening those guys up man-to-man. And if Jalen can get it to him, it's over. Over.
They did a decent job controlling Cincinnati's high-powered weapons. I mean, I'm not
Chase
saying
had that late one, but Chase didn't kill him.
No, Chase didn't kill him. Higgins had 6 catches, 83 yards. Tyler Boyd, 2 catches, 40 yards. Chase, 6 catches, 75 yards. Higgins had 1 touchdown. The other 2 did not have a touchdown. Hayden Hurst, the tight end, 4 catches, 37 yards. So I don't know what they did. They were able to do something to keep themselves in the game and, of course, eventually win the game.
Now, what they did, Gunner, sorry to interrupt you, they did get to Burrow 5 times.
They did.
I don't know that they're going to have that same success with Jalen Hurts with this offense.
I know. But, I mean, and plus Cincinnati shot themselves in the foot. They had 9 penalties to Kansas City's 4. Kansas City had the ball 32 minutes, 51 seconds compared to 27:09. All of those little things weigh into it. The penalties, the red zone. Cincinnati was 1 for 3 in the red zone. Kansas City 2 for 3 in the red zone. All those little things weigh into the equation as well. But, you know, Bears game plan is sound, on point, you know. But, you know, they, like I said, Kansas City, with all this inexperience, all these dudes banged up, they still found a way to get rid of that kryptonite, which was Cincinnati, has been Cincinnati for the last 3 times they've met prior to them beating them last Sunday. So who knows? I mean, you know, this game should be a slam dunk. Who's going to win this game? I'm not saying by a margin of points, but should be a slam dunk. Who should win it?
Yes. Critical question here from Timothy Walker. Yes, my front steps have held up after my repair that I did. It's true. Timothy, sometimes miracles, you know, happen, man. And I don't know. I'll say that, right?
Every day, huh?
The second I say that, I'll walk outside today and it'll be like, woof, I'll be, you know. But anyway.
Hey, man, the stuff that people remember what we say from last spring, summer, fall is ridiculous, man.
It's true.
You know, my wife always tells me, you got to be a little bit more careful what you say on those on the shows. And I'm like, no, because then I wouldn't be me if I don't say them. So I got to say it, you know.
I hear you.
I love giving Barrett the opportunity to say, D-God, what is wrong with you? I love you. You know. We
don't have enough time. I hear you. Good point by Dank, and he's right. Chiefs red zone defense
absolutely
is susceptible, man. You should be able. You get down there, you got to cash. You cannot be kicking field goals, man. You cannot be kicking field goals. So
no question about it.
Take care of business. Yeah, no, I 100%. All right, couple NFL news and notes here. Not good here. Joe Mixon arrested for menacing. So the report goes, day before they played the Bills, 2 weeks ago, it was a Saturday. He held a gun to a guy's head, you know, whatever, threatened him and all this other stuff. Now, in fairness, Mixon's side is saying this is nonsense and this will be dropped, you know, within days. It's BS. I don't know. Like I always say with these things, you know.
It was actually dismissed about an hour or 2 ago.
Oh, they did drop it.
Yeah, it was dismissed. Yep.
Good. Thank you for the update. I know his lawyer said this is nonsense. It's nothing. So, all right, good. That's good. Derek Carr will not extend his contract to give the Raiders further time to kind of figure out what they're doing. So basically he's putting the pressure on them because he's got like a $41 million bonus that kicks in soon. And I don't blame Derek Carr one bit, you know, the way that organization treated him, screw them.
Right. Not even the least. You're going to give me my money.
Yeah. I mean, or just cut me and let me go figure this out where I'm headed. We're not going to play you're not going to sit here and play games with me.
He even has a no trade clause in his contract. He's got him over a barrel. I'm not giving, considering how the league has treated players through the years. I'm not giving ownership nothing back. I get $41 million guaranteed, and you want me to extend it? No. I didn't tell you to cut. I didn't tell you to bench me.
Yeah.
Right.
Say it every time in that sport. Get every penny you can get, man. Every single penny you can get, and. Yeah, and that's going to be interesting where he ends up, you know, and it's likely to be, I think, with one of the teams who don't have a real high pick, who can't get up there and get one of those college quarterbacks.
Yeah. Maybe even like the Colts, though.
Possible. But the only thing is they're very scarred from bringing veterans in.
Yeah. Oh.
You know, that's the only reason I would say maybe that might be tough there. But like Tampa, somebody suggested the Niners in the chat. Maybe, you know, I think I sort of feel like the Niners are going to roll with the two young guys with Lance and Purdy.
Yep.
You know, there's risk there. You
Yeah.
know, there is. You know, both guys are. You know, did you guys see enough from Purdy to feel like he's the man going forward? I'm sorry. I didn't, and I don't.
Me neither.
I don't know. I mean, he made some great throws. You know, he helped him stay on a roll. I don't know if he's an answer, but what Shanahan was able to do with this kid off the bench in a desperate situation against the Miami team that was a good team at that time, and then to keep that thing rolling and to identify his strengths quicker rather than later. Is he the answer to their problems in the future? I think it all depends too on how quickly he comes back from this elbow thing. You know,
Right.
If he has that Tommy John, he may be out a whole year. I mean, some pitchers have missed a whole year.
I know.
From Tommy John. You know,
yeah, it's a great point.
They don't throw nearly as many baseballs as football players do in a game. Think about it. I mean, so I don't know, man. That's a tricky one for the 49ers.
Yeah, it is. Vic Fangio gets 3 years at $4.5 million per year to coordinate the defense for the Dolphins. So assistant coaches getting paid. So good for him.
That is great money, man.
Boy, isn't it, man? $4.5 million to be a
Dang,
defensive
wow.
And think about that. You don't have to deal with the headaches that the bosses deal with, the coach deals with.
Exactly. I mean, when you making, man, he's making more than our head coach.
I didn't realize Nick's salary is that low. I thought Nick was right around 3.5. By the way, he's about to get paid. He's about to get paid.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, they're gonna rip the contract up real quick.
I don't care what the deal is or how many years he's got left. That's going to be torn up this offseason.
But think about this. I mean, Fangio gets $4.5 million and gets to go to South Florida as well.
I know, man. Yep.
Hey, man, that's living the dream right there, bro.
Get a nice little crib on the water there.
What?
Yeah, man. You can do all right.
You don't even have to buy anything. Just rent a crib on the water, man. Who knows?
That's
true. You know, some of these teams have trade-offs with, like, you know, real estate people. If you let certain people stay at your place, we do this for you. You might even not have to pay for a place on the water.
Exactly.
You live it free for a whole football season, man. Dude, it's Camelot. What else do you want?
Yeah, man. Unbelievable. Wow. Unbelievable. Yep. All right. So a couple other odds and ends here, NFL wise. So Green Bay. This is weird. There's conflicting reports, and Gunnar, you can speak to this very well.
Yeah.
So Adam Schefter reported that Green Bay will not trade Aaron Rodgers to an NFC team. However, you talked to Sal Palantonio on your Gun on One, which will drop at 6 o'clock on JAKIB Sports YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he had a little something different to say, huh?
He said, you heard it here first. Don't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers goes to Tampa. And I countered with, you know, Sal, you say this, and that's contradicting your colleague, Adam Schefter, saying they will not trade him to an NFC team. And then all of a sudden, Sal countered back, D-Gun. If Tampa Bay is that team that's willing to give Green Bay 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers, whatever that notion is goes out the window. If you can get 2 first-round picks, they would have 3 first-round picks in this year's draft. Their one pick right now is at number 15, which is a really good spot.
Right.
So you have 3 first-round picks, and Tampa Bay had a losing record, so you're going to have probably 2 of the top 20 picks in the draft. And I said, you know what? You can't argue that point if that's the case. You know, he said teams say things all the time on the surface, or they'll leak stuff out and do the complete opposite based on what they can get out there in the trade market. And I said, yeah, you're right. I've seen it happen too many times. And so even though that report is out there, Sal says, don't be surprised if Tampa's his final destination. Like, wow.
Well, all right. Keep that, store that one, you know, right there for sure. This is fascinating. So Andrew Marchand, who does a really good job with media stuff. He's always got the latest. He's got a very good podcast. He writes for the New York Post. He does sports media stuff. Had a story that CBS executives were so concerned with Tony Romo's approach, preparation, delivery, the whole night. They essentially held like an intervention for him to try and get him back on track.
What?
Yeah, $17 million a year to have an intervention with him instead of just saying, "Hey, dude, get your act together." But yeah, that actually apparently happened. There hasn't been any kind of denials yet from Romo or CBS. So
what? Come on, man.
I know what is happening here.
What
are we doing?
17 mil a year.
Yeah,
and you got a bruh. You're not telling me nothing. I'd make it all happen, bruh. All of it happen.
Hey man, for 17 million, I'm dancing on top of a stadium every week.
Same here.
I got adrenaline. I got adrenaline. I never knew existed for 17 million. Mm-hmm. You know what they say? Fake it if you can't make it.
Yep.
Man, I'd be so pumped up. I'd be like Gus Johnson 5.0 every Sunday. I don't care if I was calling a Houston Texans game every week. I would be the most enthusiastic analyst sitting in a booth for 17 million over the next 10 years. Are you kidding me?
Like, can you imagine making that kind of money and you're not putting the work in? Like, that's a disgrace.
What?
It's an absolute disgrace.
It absolutely is, bro. It doesn't make sense to me. Come on, man. Come on. It just doesn't make sense. You're making that much money and you just can't go in and do a little bit more studying.
Yeah, do your research, man. You got all week. Dig into whatever game you have and put in the work. I just
and here we are fighting, scratching and clawing, but because we're not quarterbacks,
it's crazy.
You know, we're not getting it.
Yep, it is crazy, man. It is crazy.
Man, dude, first of all, what corporation do you know would call an intervention for an employee making 17 million? You'd be cut on the spot. Secondly, as the employee got cut, my intervention would be going to a psychiatrist and trying to figure out how I screwed this up. That would be an intervention. Right. I'd be going, hey, you call an intervention for a dude making 17 million?
Yeah.
No, there's no intervention.
Look,
no, excuse me.
All I have to do is call you two.
Hey, look.
I'm making 10 mil a year. Hey, D-Gun, I can't get it straight. Boy,
yeah, you're right. You're right. I'll be like,
Rob would be like, what?
Barrett, I'd be like, is you stupid?
Oh my God.
You're making 10 million. Is you stupid?
I know. Oh my God. All right. So I started, I was doing something else and I started really just kind of looking at I was just looking at the NFC because I was trying to figure out actually, quarterback spots and landing spots and all that kind of stuff with the NFC. But it gets you to think when you look around how good a shape the Eagles are in. And I know they have all those free agents, but you got Dallas with Jerry Jones still running things, with Mike McCarthy in charge, now calling plays, and with Dak Prescott, Mr. Interception. You have the Giants who, look like they're on the right path, but, we'll see. Washington still has Daniel Snyder. They still don't have a quarterback. Minnesota proved to be a total fraud. Detroit's getting better for sure. We'll see. Aaron Rodgers almost certainly out of Green Bay. Chicago was a 3-win team last year. The Bucks are into like makeover the city over there. Panthers don't have a quarterback. Saints don't have a quarterback. Atlanta, San Francisco, total questions about the quarterback despite how good they are defensively. Seattle, is that going to keep up with Geno Smith? The Rams on the wrong side of this thing, and the Cardinals. Things are looking really good for the Eagles in the NFC. If you look at it from that perspective, you could tie it into the quarterbacks, or you could just look at organizational structure. They're looking real good.
Cap wise, everything wise.
Yeah.
Well, right now they're like about 4 million over the cap. What is it? They'll clear out a lot of space to do what they need to do. Mm-hmm. Now, first of all, I know knowing Howie Roseman is going to start with asking certain veterans to take restructured deals to free up more cap space. Then they're going to have to make some hardcore decisions. And there's going to be a wow factor in there somewhere in terms of a player we think the Eagles are going to keep, and they just can't keep them because somebody's going to pay them money Eagles aren't willing to pay or can't pay for that particular position because they feel another position is more important. But the fact that they're sitting here with 2 first-round draft picks and loaded with the talent that they have right now, and you look at the core of their offense, the offense is almost intact for next season.
Yep.
That's not a bad place to be in.
Yeah. They're
not
in
a bad
real
place.
Good space right now, man.
Well,
despite what that knucklehead Jerry Jones said on his radio show about the Eagles are following suit like the Rams. What is he thinking?
I don't know, man.
He doesn't understand. Like, he just doesn't know what's going on. That's what it is.
Bro, all these guys came in on 1-year deals, with exception of AJ, Reddick.
Right.
The rest of them are 1-year deals.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you figure? How's he saying that? We're not a salary cap hell.
No.
You know what I'm saying? We're not even close to that. You guys are. They definitely are.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
And this is a destination spot, right? As you mentioned, all the free agents who wanted to come here, even for a year, you're going to be able to get guys that are just going to want to come here, maybe on the cheap a little bit, on prove-it sort of contracts to maybe have a chance to win this offseason. So you may be able to replenish some of this with free agents out there.
Well, that's what Sue and Joseph,
right?
They're ring chasing.
Yep, absolutely.
You can ring chase when you have an organization that's going to be one of the upper echelon, who has a quarterback, who has an offense, best offensive line. Guys come here because they want to ring chase. Sue said the only reason he came here because he needed to find he needed to get another ring for his other son.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
He's paid his dues. He has the right to go where he wants to go. Absolutely. He made the best business decision he could. I mean, the dude was retired. Think about it. The dude was retired. And all of a sudden, the Philadelphia Eagles, and you don't think he's watching football and looking at this team like everybody else out there?
Not at all.
He said, hey, man, I only got to play a little bit more than half a season. I got a good shot if I go here getting another ring. Why wouldn't you take that opportunity?
Not at all. It's simple. The math is simple. Eagles, ring.
Yep.
1 + 1 = 2. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I don't. What is Jerry talking about?
He doesn't know it. It's why his organization is run so poorly, because he doesn't understand what's happening inside of his place and outside of his place.
No, he definitely doesn't.
The Eagles' approach is so polar opposite to what the Rams are doing. In fact, just last year, the GM acquired the 10th overall pick.
Yep.
They're not just throwing draft picks away. I mean, I don't know.
See, I told you the best way to handle Jerry is that his son Steven, they should lock him in the office from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., slide him his meals under the door.
Like solitary confinement.
Yeah. You know, his office is big enough. It has his own private gold-plated bathroom, so he doesn't have to worry about bathrooms. You know what? And don't let him out. Don't let him near a microphone. Don't let him near a TV camera. Don't let him until after 5 or 6 p.m. when everybody's driving home from work and miss half of what he says. Yeah. You know, that's the best way to deal with Jerry, man. He's 80 years old. You can strong arm Steven. You can strong arm me now. You can take him. I know he pays your salary and you know, and your wife and your grandkids' salary. I get it. He ain't gonna take that money away from you. Plus, if he did, you got enough money. You can find another executive job.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
All right, let's get a quickie in here. We'll come back. Dan Coop from Sport Trade is going to join us. A lot to talk to Dan about. Looking forward to it. And he's got a big announcement too. My sources are telling me. So we'll see what that's all about when we return. Don't go anywhere. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Right back.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Jeff D'Ambrosio doesn't need a special event to appreciate his customers. Jeff shows his appreciation to them every day of the year. Jeff makes sure to stock more new inventory than anyone and guarantees prices and payments that nobody can beat. There are so many reasons that thousands of customers know Jeff is the easy, friendly place to do business. More for their trades. No judgment zone for credit issues. The best, most reliable service department in the country. That's why I like Jeff, and I know you will too. Jeff will satisfy you every day. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Owner Appreciation Event.
Weather forecasting is a team game.
We rely on each other every day, updating the models and passing along new critical information.
We have a team of 5 experienced meteorologists and a specialized weather producer, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Sometimes what I see in the model, Cecily could see something different.
That's when we come together as a team to make our most accurate prediction.
And all of this backed by more than 100 AccuWeather scientists. It's a team game.
And we have the best team in town.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Friday, the second to last Friday before Super Bowl 57 between the Eagles and the Chiefs. He's Derek Gunn. He's Barrett Brooks. I'm Rob Ellis. We're joined each and every Friday at this time by the man himself, Dan Koob. Dan Koob is the Director of Content for Sport Trade. You can follow him on Twitter at Sport Trade Koob, K-O-O-B. What's happening, Dan?
Gentlemen, what's going on? I apologize for the gaudy background, and we may have another one too, but we're giving away $20,000, $20,000.
There we go.
Promo.
All right, let's hear it, man.
You could watch a guy try to kick a field goal at halftime for a chance to win like $5, or you could try to win $20,000 here at Sport Trade. So
how do we do it?
Real toss-up. Literally, all you have to do is download Sport Trade, and every $10 bet on the Super Bowl is an entry. Up to 100 entries. We're going to pick 5 winners the day after the Super Bowl. So we're giving away $20,000. You could win 4 just like that.
Or you could donate it to the Help D Gun Move to San Diego Foundation.
There we go.
You could do that too.
I'm just saying.
That too. If you're watching this right now, do it so you can help Gunner move out of the Northeast. The guy spent most of his life in the Midwest, Midwest, and the Northeast. Let's get this guy in some flip flops. Come on,
poor guy.
Bro, I'm not trying to hear that. He gonna stay here. I'm gonna be cold. He gonna be cold.
I hear you.
There it is.
You don't see me going anywhere.
Right.
Too. It's cold out today too, guys.
You ain't going nowhere. It's freezing here. You're gonna freeze here with me. You're not going to California.
Misery loves company, Barrett.
Right, exactly.
You guys say you're my friends, man. I can't believe this.
Hey, so that's awesome, Dan. All you need to do is place any kind of wager on the Super Bowl, and you're essentially in a pool, right? I mean, basically, and that's incredible, man.
You're in, and we're going to pick the. So we're doing a live trading event right outside Rutgers campus. In Piscataway,
nice.
The Monday after the Super Bowl. So we're going to pick the winners then, and then we will live trade. It's a great NBA slate that night. So we're going to live trade the NBA that night. We also, again, keeping with the promos here, new accounts get $20 for free. Just sign up. We'll give you $20. You can use the app for free. Okay.
Awesome.
Let's talk props. I'm done shilling.
First thing I want to ask you is, before we get to props, the lines moved about a point, right? It was 2.5. I know what happened initially where it was Kansas City, but then it really settled on the Eagles minus 2.5, Dan. And over the last day or so, it's moved back to the Eagles 1.5. So is that your sense that there's a lot more action KC wise, just kind of generally?
Yeah. So again, on Sport Trade, we actually don't move our lines once they're posted. So we just move the price. So the price for the Eagles minus 2.5 is plus 111, which is $47 per share. So yes, that means that the market is kind of moving away from that. I still like this price. I mean, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just like a too much of a fan, but I think the Eagles win this game by 10 plus. I really do. You know, Gunnar and I were texting about this earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Just the way this matchup plays out, everything the Kansas City struggles with defensively is what the Eagles excel at. So to me, this is a great matchup. I mean, if anything, the most difficult strength on strength matchup was the team they just played, and they were down to their fourth quarterback. So, I mean, how lucky are the Birds, right? But in this matchup, as long as they can handle Chris Jones, which his offensive line has proven repeatedly to be able to handle standout one-off players, especially in the front seven, this is the perfect recipe to be a cousin of the Kansas City Tampa Bay Super Bowl, in my opinion, which was a drubbing, 31-9.
Yep.
So to me, and we have Eagles minus 6.5 is plus 213. That's $31.50 per share. I've already jumped all over that. And then again, Eagles minus 2.5 is $47 per share, which is plus 111. So, plus money all around on this game. I think the Eagles win their second Super Bowl in 6 years.
Dan, in your best estimation, how much do you expect the money to fluctuate like a roller coaster starting next week when everybody's reporting on scenarios and practices, who's practicing, who's not practicing, who's in is not expected, who's out, so on and so forth? Do you expect to see a lot of fluctuation in the money?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very similar, Gunnar, to what we saw last week with Patrick Mahomes, which is once people start to see him on the practice field, once that B-roll starts to come out, people are going to say, oh, he's okay. He's all right. And then the money's going to come in on the Chiefs. So actually, when the market opened up on Sport Trade, Eagles were about 57%, $56 per share to win. And now it's at 53.5, which is minus 117. The Chiefs have continued to creep up. They're at $48 per share, which is plus 106. So the money's already starting to come in on the Chiefs. As you mentioned, Rob, the line's already gone from 2.5 to 1.5. So, those like good vibes. And once people see him walking around, Mahomes, that is, walking around on media day and everything like that, I think you're going to see the same exact thing that happened last week happen this week, or in the next week rather, which is a lot more Chiefs money coming in. And what's interesting is the Eagles are getting, in my opinion, pretty disrespected in the national discourse, especially Nick Sirianni right now, which I love. So I'm actually happy that you're going to be able to get the Eagles at somewhat of a discount here, I think, by kickoff.
Nice. I love it. Well, tell us then. Let's talk a little props, man. What do we have? What's going on?
So I was just chatting with Xander. If we can flip over the screen, that way I can go full screen. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Xander.
Look at that.
So if you guys can see that, so you can see me. We've got the Sport Trade app here on the right. Let me go into our players props. We just posted these. So what does everybody love, guys? Everybody loves anytime touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
But on Sport Trade, you can actually take someone to not score a touchdown as well. So
that's cool. Okay.
So if you think, hey, you know what, Jalen Hurts is injured, I don't think they're going to run him up the middle. I think his shoulder is really bugging him. You see here, it's a little pixelated perhaps. So Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown is plus 108, 47.5 per share. For him not to score a touchdown is just minus 135. So that's $57 per share. Again, you don't have to lay an entire share price. You could bet $1 if you really wanted to. And that goes for everybody. So we've got Miles Sanders, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. Here's my favorite one. These two. And I'll pull back the kimono a little bit. I told our market makers we have to have these two on here. Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott. Because if you watch this Eagles team, Boston Scott in a lot of ways is their goal to go running back.
Yep.
And he's just $17 per share to score a touchdown.
That's
$4.78.
Wow.
That's a good deal, man.
That's a great deal. So I fully plan on, if you haven't already, downloading Sport Trade, get the free $20 and then deposit 10, put $10 on Boston Scott here. Well, let's show you. If you just put $10 on Boston Scott, that'll return $47.84. And you have a chance to win in our $20,000 sweepstakes. So there's a good deal there. And then you've got the Chiefs, right? Patrick Mahomes to score a touchdown, Travis Kelce, which to me there's a lot more value on the no than the yes. I have to imagine coming into this game that they're going to say, we're not going to let Kelce beat us. We're going to let everybody else beat us, considering how beat up that wide receiver core is. Jerick McKinnon, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So we get into some of the other ones here. A Philadelphia defensive or special teams touchdown. Those are very popular props as well. A Kansas City defensive or special teams touchdown. This one I really like too. Will any player score 2+ touchdowns?
2+.
And it's at minus 203 to the yes. So in my mind, that's hard to do, right? So I think the no at plus 157, which is $38.50 per share. is a great bet. Again, even if you just wanted to throw 20 bucks on that, if you can see that, that's a $31.31 return. And if you wanted to buy a full share, again, as we call them, one share, that's $60.27 per share that you would get back on that. We do charge a 2% commission on profitable trades. Some other fun ones. Will an offensive lineman score a touchdown? Probably not. It's only $3.50. I'd probably skip that guy. Will there be a 60-yard catch or run?
Ooh.
Yes is only $24.50. Just put it out. Another one I really like, and I'm curious for your guys' thoughts on this. Will Jalen Hurts lead the game in rushing? Yes is plus 302. It's $24.50 per share.
Wow, that's a good one.
I think the main competition for this one is Isaiah Pacheco. I don't think it's on the Eagles.
I would agree with you. I would agree with that. Yep, I would agree with that. I don't know with his health condition if they're going to have him running. And he ran an okay amount last week. Yeah. But here's the thing. With some of these, they're likely not to happen. But if you just drop a little bit on them, the payoff's so big, Dan. That's the thing.
Yeah, right. The payoffs are really big. And again, because they're a two-sided market, right? A lot of places, I would say any sports book doesn't support two-sided markets, right? You can either bet yes, they'll score, or you can't bet. So the two-sided market provides a lot of value. This one is interesting. The Kelsey brothers, which will there be more of, receptions or penalty yards? That's one we cooked up in the lab. I don't know if I would take that one regardless.
Oh, I'd say reception. If I was a betting man, I'd say receptions.
Yeah, Kelsey, our Kelsey doesn't usually get flagged for too many things, but one hold and that swings a completely different direction.
Yeah.
Will Philadelphia go for more first downs than Kansas City? That one seems completely assured, right? Considering the way Sirianni coaches this team. The yes is only minus 147, so $59 per share. Again, you don't have to lay 59. Let's say you wanted to put 20 bucks on that. We're in contracts, or we're in shares rather. Let's say you wanted to put 20 bucks on that. That returns $13.62. Not a bad trade. A lot of people just want to bet flat rates. Some people want to put 20 bucks down. You win $168 for that one. So I really like that one. These are
good. I like these props, man. In general. Yeah.
Both teams to convert a fourth down. Both teams to attempt a 2-point conversion. Will a 2-point conversion be successful? Probably. I actually kind of like that one at $27.50. You never know who's going to be playing catch up, or you never know if Nick Sirianni is just going to decide the hell with it. Let's go for 2.
Yeah.
Like he did against the Giants, which I still don't understand.
Yeah.
Either team to miss an extra point. That was a great one. Actually, the first prop in sport trade history was, will the Cowboys miss an extra point? Brett Maher, after he missed 4 in the wild card round, of course, missed the first one. So a ton of people, we had tons of people make money on that one. And it was only priced at 20. So people made $80 for every share of that bet. And then will there be a safety? Yes is priced at $8. So all kinds of opportunities here on the sport trade markets. If you want to flip back, Xander,
do you dip into like Rihanna songs or dresses?
Yeah.
All that crazy
coin flips and all that stuff.
Are we going there?
Well, first of all, apologies for the microphone. Sorry, Gunnar. I didn't realize I was crackling. So I think no, for right now, we're not getting into the Rihanna markets. We're not getting into those, but we do have those game specific ones. We're actually the first company that's an exchange to actually ever put out props.
Right.
So the fact that we've got 25 of them right now,
that's
in the span
great.
of 2 weeks is
That's
pretty
incredible.
impressive. Yeah. So those are the ones who a ton of value. Again, hop into the props market. You can basically do it for free. We're giving you $20 just to sign up, and then if you place a $10 bet, you're entered into the $25.
Here's one for you. Yeah. I don't know if you have it in there, Dan, but odds that Barrett goes to White Castle in Glendale, Arizona. I would be all over that. That's going to be a bet that I load up on.
There's a 99.9. That one's trading at 99.9. You get a cent back when that one hits.
Barrett, your thoughts?
You're muted, dude.
Muted.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
100%.
Okay.
No question about that.
That's the biggest lock we've ever seen.
You'd have to be a big, imposing figure to wear that hoodie in Arizona Super Bowl week. I couldn't pull that off.
Bro, I'm not wearing anything but
flip-flops,
t-shirts and flip-flops and shorts and everything else, bro. You know what I mean? I'm living a life when I get down there, bro. I'm living a life. I'm not even wearing a hat. I might wear a sun hat. That's what I'll do. I'll wear a sun hat just for you, D-Gun.
There you go.
Just for you, D-Gun.
What a nice gesture. Always looking out. Always looking out, man.
Oh my goodness.
God. I wear sunglasses too.
I can't wait to see his live shots. I need atmosphere. I need you somewhere. Like I said, I need you near a cactus or something.
I'm gonna have coyotes and scorpions in my background.
Yes.
I need you floating on some like a inflatable flamingo in
awesome.
someone's Airbnb pool one day with a pina colada, as you're talking about front seven.
Oh, that might not be good. A pina colada and a double cheese White Castle, that might not work together, but we're gonna try it though.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's a live shot for those in the industry. That's when you would put on your audition tape. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God. All right. So Dan, all the people need to do is download the app. And pretty simple. You place a wager and you're in, man. You're in. $10, right? That's it.
That's all you got to do. If you're in New Jersey, even if you're in Philly, come on over the bridge, grab a cup of coffee, and just download the app. We have a ton of people doing it.
Yeah.
We still have the $300 risk-free bet, and I've actually been reached out to on Twitter by a bunch of customers who said, "Yeah, I drove across the bridge, grabbed a cup of coffee at Starbucks or Wawa or whatever, got my $300 risk-free bet, and I was good. Went back home." Wow. So feel free to do it. I do have a question before I go to you guys. Obviously, you guys are the epitome, the top of the mountain here in Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio. So you have the ear of the fan. Do you feel like people are more or less excited this year as opposed to 2017 because we've already seen a Super Bowl? Just curious.
I think they're a little less, Dan, if I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, they're a little bit less.
Yeah.
Not that they're spoiled, but it was so satisfying with who they beat and winning it for the first time, first Super Bowl. And be clear, I know they won in 60, but for the first time in 57 years, that I think there's a little less intensity, if you will, for this. At least right now, that's the way I felt this first week.
I wonder if that has to do with just them being. They were such an underdog against the Patriots, right? It was kind of like house money. They were underdog. Foles was playing, and now like they're such a wagon. Like they just crush everybody. I wonder if it's like a little hubris almost.
I think it falls in the category, Dan, of a lot of people didn't expect that team in 17 to even make it because of all the prominent players they lost just to get there. And they were the underdogs against Atlanta, against Minnesota, and obviously against the Patriots. And I think the wow factor back then is much greater than it is now. As we watch this team evolve, it just maintained its consistency. Had a couple of hiccups along the way, but like we talked about, 2 of the 3 losses were without the franchise quarterback. So we got spoiled with this team, and they kept providing numbers that really left us speechless in a lot of ways. The sacks, 3 players over 1,000 yards, Jalen Hurts being in a consistent conversation as MVP. But that team in 17, you lose a franchise quarterback, a future Hall of Fame left tackle, a future Hall of Fame special team player, your best middle linebacker, and they didn't get worse. They got better. The more people they lost, they got better. So I think the wow factor was greater back then.
I think Dan make a good point too about how they've just steamrolled a lot of teams. Sorry, Barry.
Right,
absolutely.
You're right. So that's what I was about to say. The expectation has been there for a lot longer right now because of what they did during the beginning of the season, towards the middle of the season, and the way they finish it up. The expectations are there. All right, they're going to get there regardless of what has happened or corresponded over the past 3 games. They're still going to get there.
I was reminded this week that they were like a 2.5-point dog against Minneapolis 5 years ago. It's just hilarious thinking about that now. I mean, were they a dog against Atlanta too at home? Do you remember?
Yes, Atlanta. Yes, they were.
They were underdogs against Atlanta.
I believe they were underdogs.
They were underdogs
because they rode that underdog thing throughout the playoff.
Right. They were underdog the last 4 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
The last 4 games they were underdogs.
That's incredible. I mean, that Vikings team, it feels like the Vikings have been overinflated for 2 decades. Every time they come to town, they're not nearly as good as the public perception. Although this year, I think people kind of had them pegged.
Yeah. It's true, man. It's true. Dan, looking forward to next week, man. We will preview that Super Bowl.
I can't wait.
Same time next Friday, man. And again, just download the Sport Trade app and you can win 20 grand. Also on there now, there are all kinds of unbelievable prop bets too. So you've got to get on this now. Get on it, and you can follow Dan at SportTradeCoob on Twitter. He's the director of content, and just download the app at SportTrade_app. Dan, we appreciate it, brother. Good talking as always.
I mean, I just can't wait to talk to you 1 week from today to find out how the money has moved from today to next Friday. I'm just fascinated with how that proverbial roller coaster will go between now and then once stories start coming out from Arizona.
I'll prepare some charts for you, Gunner.
Good.
I expect them. We'll have them ready. We'll have your ROI up on the screen. We'll blow it out. We'll do it up.
Love it. All right, Dan.
Man.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yep, that is Dan Coob. He joins us each and every Friday. All right, let's hit some birthdays, guys. Let's hit some birthdays today. Mention just to reiterate, swing back to this. You Gunner, you talked about him a little bit earlier. Fran Tarkenton is 83 today. I can't believe Fran Tarkenton's 83. What is that? Crazy. Isla Fisher, the actress, is 47. Wedding Crashers and a bunch of other stuff as well. Warwick Davis is 53 years old today. Morgan Fairchild.
From Willow.
Yeah, from Willow.
Willow and Leprechaun 1, 2, and 3.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
He's good.
I watched one Leprechaun and I said,
yeah, I don't think we needed 3.
More hours I'm never going to get back in my life. That's it. I can do
it. Morgan Fairchild is 73 today.
Rob, would you put her in strong category?
Yeah, I'm never a huge fan, but yeah.
What?
I mean, in her day. Yeah.
In her day?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
Morgan Fairchild?
Yeah. Strong.
Yeah. Blythe Danner, who is Gwyneth Paltrow's mother. She's been in a lot of stuff. Meet the Fockers and a bunch of other. Yeah, this talking about later, and she started in a lot of stuff back in the day.
Yeah,
she's been around a long time. Philly native. Yeah, she went to Penn. She's a Penn graduate. Yeah. Sean Kingston, the rapper, singer, entertainer, hip hop artist, 33 today. Nathan Lane, the actor, is 67 years old. Birdcage, a bunch of other stuff. A lot of Broadway stuff for him as well. Norman Rockwell, the great painter.
Yep.
Wow.
1894. Man, his stuff is unreal.
Yeah,
it's unreal. If you ever get a chance to check it out. The actress Mara Tierney, she's always good. Everything she's in, she's 58 today. Amal Clooney, who is George Clooney's wife. She's she's a lawyer and does a bunch of other stuff for civil rights for folks. She's 45 today. Joey Bishop, the actor entertainer. I think he's a Philly guy too. Born on this day in 1918. Vlade Divac, who was traded for Kobe Bryant. One of the great heists in the history of the NBA draft by Jerry West.
Did you know that Vlade is one of only 7 players in the history of the NBA, 13,000 points, 3,000 assists, 900 rebounds, and 1,500 blocks?
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, you know what? He had a really good career, and I guess a little bit of his overshadowed because of the Kobe trade, but he was a good player. He was a good player. He was one of the first really big European player names that succeeded in the NBA. He was on that first wave of the guys who came over back in the day. Who else? Bob Greasy is 78 years old. Bob Greasy, who was quarterback on 2 Super Bowl champions for Miami, including the undefeated team in 72. Of course, his son is the quarterback's coach for the 49ers, Brian Greasy.
I played with Brian for a little bit.
Yeah. Henry Heimlich, who was the man who invented the Heimlich maneuver, was born on this day in 1923. So there you go. That's something to know.
Heimlich on your ass, big gun.
Come on.
What? Can we just all get along? Can we just all get along? Now you want to hurt me again?
He's trying to save you. He's worried about you.
Let me tell you something. Don't ever make the mistake. He's trying to save me. That ain't ever gonna happen.
I would, man.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right. So any other birthdays that I omitted that I missed here?
You said Fran Tarkenton, right?
Yeah, 83. Yeah. 83 for
there's a bunch. Actually, Tyler Huntley.
Okay.
Quarterback. He's 25.
Pro bowler.
Yeah, exact pro. That's why I was it. Keith Elias, man, real good running back, man. I think Harvard guy. He's 51. James White. He's 31.
Yep.
Can't believe he's not playing.
Vladi Wallace, Biggie's mom.
Oh, okay.
It's her birthday. It's never good to say a woman's.
No, just it's her birthday. Yeah, it's her birthday. Yep.
And you guys said Stephen Hottie. Hot was it?
No.
Stephen Hottie Stephen McHottie. He's 76. He was in 300 and in The Watchmen, the older gentleman.
Oh yeah. He's a good actor.
Good actor.
He's been in a lot
really good
He's
actor,
been in a lot of stuff for a long time. Yep.
So
all right.
Stephen McHattie. Okay.
We
also got we got Maitland Ward. She's 46 from the movie White Chicks, which was hilarious as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of this artist, Daddy Yankee, 46. Great artist. Matter of fact, says he's retiring after the current tour he's on right now.
Oh, wow.
So he's 46. We have Victor Bono, who was actually King Tut in the old Batman TV series from the 1960s.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, for 3 seasons. We have Michael Cimino, who's a director of The Deer Hunter, which won 5 Academy Awards.
Oh, wow.
Let's see who else we got. Shelley Berman, a comedian, 92. Keith Gordon, who was in Jaws 2, Dressed to Kill, and the movie Christine about the possessed car, 62.
Yes. Yep.
Kerry Von Erich of the Von Erich brothers wrestler.
Yeah.
He's 30. Oh, he was 33 when he passed. Dennis Edwards, who was one of the lead singers of the Temptations, was 74. We also have Elijah Pitts, the great running back, was 60 years old. Howard Greenlee, who founded the New York Tribune and also helped found the Republican Party back in 1854.
Wow.
Emil Griffith, who won titles in 3 different boxing weights.
Yep.
And Pretty Boy Floyd, the gangster. Who was taken down in 1934.
All right. If you have any movies, get them in because we're up against it. Got anything? I don't have any.
No movies?
No.
When a Stranger Calls from 2006. I love that movie. Which was dumb because I'm not standing there answering the phone call every time somebody blows into a phone. I'm not doing it. Okay. Shanghai Nights, 2003. And a tearjerker of a movie, Homeward, The Incredible Journey from 1993.
Okay. All right. Good stuff.
Here we go.
We're back Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging with us. I want to thank our producer, Xander Krause, all of you in the chat section, all of you streaming, all of you listening. Of course, don't go anywhere. You got 3 hours coming up with Dan Cilio on the National Football Show. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you same time Monday. We appreciate you. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.